Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close, I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me.
Adam, what's your point? The future looks bright.
My handshake is better than anything I ever saw. It's right here.
You are a one-of-one?
My son's right about
I don't think I've ever said this before.
We'll get into that. Folks, there's somebody upset that Joe Rogan's making $82 million a year, and she thinks he needs to help other people out, and it's like it's not fair he's making that kind of money. Another person takes his kid to a Boca Raton store, buys a box of 2026 Topps Chrome, and all of a sudden pulls a dual auto Ohtani that a guy named Shine, who's a friend, and Kevin O'Leary put a post on Twitter saying, hey, we will offer you $6.5 million. This guy ends up getting $11 million for this card that some claim that's a massive, massive card. It's his hottest card. And then you got this one guy. Imagine you're 15 years old. You go to college, Columbia University. By 19, you become a valedictorian. Then right afterwards, you go work for the FTX guy, Sam Bankman-Fried. Mm-hmm. Then you go to OpenAI. You work there for less than a year. You get fired because you leaked information to a director or executive at Anthropic.
Yes.
Then you write a report called Situational Awareness, a 165-page essay that you write that turns into a hedge fund that you start called Situational Awareness, that you end up getting that from $225 million from the guys from GitHub and Stripe, I believe, to all of a sudden a $45 billion fund until you get a phone call 18 months later. In the first 6 months of the year this year, you know how much the portfolio did in return?
How much?
439%.
Wow.
You know what just happened? There's something called margin call. Guess what call you don't want to get?
The margin call?
And he got the margin call. It's one of the scariest calls you. I got one once. It's one of the scariest calls. I was a 22-year-old when I got it. It's one of the scariest calls you ever get because you're betting in, investing on debt. So imagine using credit card to invest into the market.
Oh, God.
So if it goes up, you're making 4 times the amount of money.
Yeah.
But if it goes down 25%, you lose all of your money.
Oh.
Because
It's like the whole GameStop situation.
Right.
You're shorting the
stocks are going down, and we'd like you to pay back some of the debt.
And
today, that's the margin call.
And wait till you see who knocked on the door to come and buy all of it at a discount and made bank. We'll talk about there's a lot of stories behind
Boca
it.
Raton zone.
Yes, exactly. And then so yesterday, RFK goes on Dana Bash's CNN, and they go at it. And let me tell you, if you haven't seen that clip, the 21-minute clip, RFK says you're a parrot. All you're doing is repeating. Says, show me the research. Show me the study. I have the study. Show me the study. Well, how about measles? Well, I told you that's good. They should take it. You know why they didn't take it? Even Fauci in his diary wrote that COVID's worst people that are going to be impacted by COVID are kids that are not getting the. And it's like, well, it was a phenomenal exchange. Good for Bobby. They demonized this guy, called him all these different words, and he's getting his redemption, which is a beautiful thing. Scott Galloway, successful businessman, on his podcast with Kara Swisher, I believe that's her name, if I'm not.
Yeah, of course.
That's it.
He finally said, what the hell are you doing, Mamdani? What did we do to you? They doxed 965 names or so of people that may be living in or having a $5 million residence. He says, do you not remember what happened to the United Healthcare CEO that got shot in the back and killed by Luigi Mangione? Why are you doxing us? What did we do to you? So we'll talk about that. And, of course, we have to talk about the tragic event that happened at In-N-Out, Idaho, with the shooter. I think 3 people were killed. I want to say 9 are hurt. 2 or 3 are in critical condition right now as we speak. But there was another one that came in ready to protect who became the hero. And I think the guy ended up killing himself.
Yep.
Self-inflicted wound.
Because he knew he was about to get worked by the cops.
And then there's another story that came up out of nowhere about Bill Gates getting a Q-level clearance. And when they asked the DOE, why did you give Bill Gates this level of clearance? They don't have an answer for it.
And you don't understand, Q-level clearance is like Pentagon nuclear secrets, and this is a civilian computer nerd. All of a sudden, he gets that, and they won't say it.
Which is kind of weird when you see that.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that. Then we got a couple other stories. One of them is going to be Spider-Man movie, which if you haven't seen, we'll have some fun at the end. I watched the movie. I thought it was great. WNBA. Oh. Every single time you think they're going to make progress, every time you're like, they're going to make some progress. They're going to make some progress. Nope. These 2 coaches, one is Caitlin Clark's coach that says, I don't know science. I don't know how this works. I don't know. When I was younger, I used to play basketball with men. So, yeah, I mean, I'm accustomed to playing with men. This is Caitlin Clark's coach that says that. Then another coach named Cheryl Reeve, who plays against them against Sophie is wearing a shirt saying protect.
Trans kids belong.
Trans kids belong. And they had a conversation. The report's asking a question, well, we just need to get more educated. And I'm going to tell you something here when we get into this story. I'm going to tell you something that has to do with the Tates and has to do with WNBA. And Sophie Cunningham gets fouled so bad in the face, elbow, and they gave the foul to her. Very weird situation. This was in Seattle. We'll get into that as well. Another story which I love that I saw this story is parents are sitting on $1 trillion of art collection across the board in America, boomers. And guess who doesn't want their art collection? Their kids. Not only do they not want the art collection, number two, they can't sell the art collection. Guess who else doesn't want this art collection? Museums. To just hang the art on the wall for free that they want to donate and get a write-off, and the museums are saying, we don't have any room.
Oh, man.
So $1 trillion of art collections sitting around with nobody interested, and I will tell you one of the reasons is because people are realizing 70%, it's estimated, 70% of art that you buy is fraud.
Great.
70%. But you know what is blowing up? Baseball cards, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Baseball cards, baby, blowing up in ways that's not even funny. I may even give away a baseball card box today on a funny giveaway that we made together. Just hang tight for it. And then outside of that, can you imagine, not Fox, not Daily Caller, not Daily Wire, not Breitbart, but CBS does a hit piece on Newsom. $4 billion rail, that you're supposed to build out and all this other stuff. And then you sue the president to say that's the reason why it's not getting done. And then 2 days before Christmas, you drop the lawsuit quietly. You don't even talk about it, but you're very good at, blaming Trump for not getting done. CBS is finally like, bullshit. You said you built, you're making progress. There is no progress. You know it's bad when CBS is coming after you. And for many years, CBS protected likes of Fauci and Biden and Clinton's and all this other. Like, I think we're done with Newsom. Listen, just so you know, more and more people are telling me AOC is their candidate. The DSA, Bill Maher lost his shit talking about the DSA. He quoted stuff about what communists would say, and they're like, his own audience got uncomfortable. But anyways, this is going to be a jam-packed, awesome podcast with a lot of great stories. We're excited about it. With that being said, for those of you guys that were here last week on the networking event, it was epic. People were flipping out. They lost their minds. Deals were done. I want to show you a highlight. And this is pretty much the last chance for all of you because we got less than 30 days left for the vault. And I'm going to give you guys a surprise attendee that will be there in the CEO session that I'll be announcing today. So hang tight. But first, I want you to watch the highlight of what happened last week at our campus during the Vault networking event. Go for it.
I believe in something very powerful. You are the sixth person of the 5 people you surround yourself around. The Vault is literally, in my opinion, the pinnacle of the crowd and the individuals that you should be around if you want to level up. That's why we're here.
We are at the pre-Vault networking event where we had private jets, supercars, CEOs, founders, executives coming from all across Florida, even from different states and even from different countries to start networking with other entrepreneurs that are going to be at the Vault conference.
Look at that stud on the left.
Look at Tom, baby.
Stud.
Mario.
Buy a ticket, whether you're starting off at a general or even an executive, work your way up. Just because I feel like the perks of even a general admission ticket is very good. You kind of get to mingle with everyone. And I think Pat does a great job of that. Just because you don't have a CEO ticket, it doesn't mean that you can't connect with everyone.
True.
Everybody is welcoming. People will do business with you. Your politics don't matter. The dollar matters. Making the money matters. Making the connection matters. And so you need to get involved.
Is that who I think it was?
Love Sniper.
Oh, wow.
Buy your ticket. Go buy it. Buy your ticket. See you at the Vault.
That's cool.
Time to secure your access, and we'll see you in Vegas August 31st to September 3rd. We'll see you at the Vault.
Amazing.
It's end of the month.
I can literally say it changed my life.
There you go, baby. Go to vault2026.com. Go to vault2026.com. Stephen Bartlett, who made $42 million last year podcasting. Logan Paul, who's about to be a billionaire. He's all over the place. You got Joe Montana and Jerry Rice with possibly, you know who may interview them? possibly, you may who interviewed them, had a conversation with them yesterday. Stephen A. Smith may interview them. I said, Stephen A., have you ever interviewed those two together? He says, I never have. How about you interview them instead of me, because it'll be an exciting one. And, and then we have Dan Martell, AI. He'll be there. And on top of that, at the CEO session, those guys are going to CEO. You got bigger decisions to make. I went and got the #1 lawyer in America that'll be at that event with us. This is the lawyer of the top 7 out of top 10 richest people in America use him as a lawyer. Alex Spiro, who is Musk's lawyer, who is Bezos' lawyer, who is probably the most feared man in law in America. He'll be in the CEO session. Those of you guys that didn't even know the CEOs, you'll get a chance to ask Alex a question at the end of the interview, end of the CEO session together. So if you haven't registered, go to Vault 2026. Register. We will see you guys at MGM again, vault2026.com. Bring your spouse, bring your partner, bring your peers. Don't come alone. We look forward to seeing you there. Let's get right into it. Yes.
I just realized we're in August. We're less than 30 days away.
Less than 30 days away.
It's crazy,
Yes.
brother. Look at the calendar. Holy moly.
Less than 30 days. All right, so let's get into the story. The first story I want to get into, we got so many of them to go with. Let's start off with what happened. I'm going to go into, I'm trying to see which one to, let's go with Mamdani and Galloway. Let's go with Mamdani and Galloway. So Scott Galloway, we had him on the podcast about 2 months ago. Successful man. He's got good messages when it comes down to young men, boys, making money, being successful, pro-capitalism. He's made a lot of money, worth a few $100 million. He's on the right side with a lot of common sense issues, but he happens to be a liberal, which this is a common sense liberal guy who defends many of the things that conservatives also stand for. Logical. But he votes on the left because he has a love for his mother, and him and his mother had a great relationship, and so loyalty to the family, which I understand. But watch what happened to him. This is a guy that was complimentary of Mamdani, being a mayor of New York City. It's not going to be that bad. He's going to be okay. Give the man a chance type of a person, right? And watch what he just said on his podcast with Kara Swisher about what Mamdani did last week, doxing 900+ people in New York who may be living in a property that's worth $5 million+. And he says, why would you do such a thing? This is a guy that supports, and watch what he had to say. Go for it.
And I've been doxed.
You've been doxed? What? Tell me.
Oh, no.
So I don't know if you've heard, but Mayor Mamdani has decided to release a list of the 950,000 residences with addresses and names that might be eligible for his pied-à-terre tax. I came out in favor of this tax. This is the definition. He's taken a legitimate source of tax revenue and he's turning it into a wanted poster. And the question I would have is, other than trying to identify and imply these people have done something wrong, and then 18 months after a healthcare CEO was executed in the street and then published the list, what is the upside here? Why is he doing this?
Because he's a communist, Scott.
Yeah, so and that's the thing. So, by the way, Mamdani threatened to raise city property tax by staggering 9.5% in February unless he was allowed to tax the rich to cover a $12 billion budget gap that was later revised down to $5.4 billion. City Hall estimates that the pied-à-terre tax would yield a $500 million a year income for the Big Apple budget, but Democratic controller Mark Levine's office says the figure is closer to $380 million. Knock it off. You're trying to argue against it. So how many addresses? So the Post counted over 960,000 residents, individuals listed as potential in line to be hit with Mamdani's pied-à-terre tax, even though just about 13,000 homes were supposed to be targeted by the new levy as he and Hochul initially sold it to the public. So imagine all of a sudden, back in the days, remember in L.A., you would go and get a tour, and they would say, this is where Brad Pitt lives. This is the Hugh Hefner's, what do you call it, the Playboy
map of the stars. And people used to sit on those red buses. You know, the red
101.
Yeah, the red bus.
That's
like
right.
You can go around New York.
So guess what? Mamdani is officially running the map of the stars in New York publicly. And some people are saying, what the hell are you doing? By the way, I'm going to come to you, Tom, first. Guys in the back, if you can find what Bill Maher said on his show, that even his audience is like, what the hell is going on to New York City? Tom, your thoughts on this story?
So what is happening to people like Scott, and I thank Scott for his forthrightness and his honesty about what he's seeing. But what he is seeing is the Trojan horse of the DSA. The DSA is an absolute Trojan horse that is inside the Democrat Party. And the Democratic Party used to accept all these groups. Oh, LGBT, no problem. You're a victim. You have a place in our tent. Oh, you have a place in our tent. Oh, you're here. Oh, poor. Oh, you're still upset about slavery, but you don't know exactly who started it. No problem. You have a place under our tent. So they build this tent of these voting groups. And what they did is they started accepting what they saw as maybe Bernie people. What was Bernie's issue? Free education, and he wanted to tax the millionaires and billionaires. I mean, just the billionaires now that I'm a millionaire.
Yeah.
Remember that,
Yes.
Vinny?
Yep.
So guess what? That's called the big tent theory. And you had James Carville come out over the weekend and saying, if these are the guys that are inside the tent, I don't want anything to do with it. Remember? That's what he said.
Yep.
Well, guess what? God bless Scott Galloway. He's saying, Pat, what honestly people are discovering, which is the DSA is not another group in the tent. They are infiltrators. They want to take over the tent. And as a matter of fact, if you looked at the Marxist side of the DSAs, they have the Islamic Marxists, by the way, they have made statements about LGBT. And so they're going to be under the tent as Democrats with LGBT, but they'll tell you at the end of the day, they want no part of that group. So this is a Trojan horse that is now starting a war, and people like Scott Galloway says, I thought I was just supporting attacks from a Democrat candidate that happened to be a little more socialist. Nope, you got more than that.
And by the way, of the 900 and whatever thousand addresses that they leaked, the 950,000, do you know 95% of those addresses, they don't even qualify for the tax, but they put it on the list anyways.
Why? Yeah, exactly.
So why would you do that?
Galloway said at the beginning, he said that might be. So Galloway pointed out that it was imprecise, that might be worth $5 million.
Yeah. So by the way, I want you to watch this clip of Bill Maher. You're starting to hear a lot of people saying, if you guys go this direction, you're gonna lose this 80s Democrat who was for, Mario Cuomo or was for John F. Kennedy or was for a lot of these guys, but I'm not for the new Democrats. So watch what Bill Maher had to say. Go for it.
Now the coalition within the DSA, called the Marxist Unity Group, is in ascendance, and I must take them at their word when their words include, our commitment is to the long-term struggle for a fully liberated, classless society, in a word, communism. What do they have to do? Tweet out, elect more communists? Oh yeah, Sia Weaver did that. Yes. Good, I'm glad you're shocked. People got to realize this is going on.
She said, elect more.
Yes, she works for him.
Communists. Of course she works for him. So, Adam, your thoughts on, Vinny, your thoughts on the story.
Yeah, well, Pat, when you spend months, and this whole time, the surprise shock, and when you spend months and months telling people that landlords and wealthy people with all this money and property owners are the reason that they're struggling, then you hand out a map of where they live, it can't be more obvious.
Exactly.
It's unbelievable. And for Scott Galloway, I respect Scott, but this is what happens when your hate for your enemies so much that you're blind because of the simple truths of your own party. And what boggles my mind about this entire situation is, how are you shocked, Scott? You support Mamdani, an Islamist who hangs out, takes photos with 9/11 co-conspirators. His freaking wife is liking posts with October 7th, saying the N-word, doing all this stuff, and it just drives me crazy. And Scott's Jewish. I'll never understand this. How do I'm going to give him a chance. He doesn't like you. Okay? He doesn't like you. And then now you're upset. And I told you the story, Pat. I went to urgent care. I have a sinus infection. I'm just getting over it. I was prescribed amoxicillin. My doctor, she comes in. She's, we're talking New York, blah, 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 accent. And she's Jewish. And she just starts going in on Mamdani. She lets me know that she had to sell, Pat, she had to sell her property, her second home in New York. She's here now. She lost a bunch of her liberal friends. And then one of them, Adam, you ready for this? She's Jewish, her friend's Jewish, lives in Maine, and she goes, I was voting for Graham Plattner. She goes, wait a minute, you're a Jew. He has a Nazi tattoo that he covered up, and she goes like this, yeah, but you know what? The other guy's a Trumper. Think about the mentality where all that is gone and out the window, but just because it's not Trump. And it drives me crazy, Adam. My mind still gets boggled how this party, who for 10 years has just been Trump, 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 and now the dust is settling, Pat, and they're all like this. How How did the communists come in here? Because you guys have nobody in your party, you have no values, you have no freaking mission, and you have no leaders, and now all of a sudden, AOC, the bartender from the Bronx, okay, that's a freaking Marxist, they're all going to come up and they're all going to run your party. Period.
Look what's happened in less than 20 years. Less than 20 years, Pat. What do we have today? The top 3 things for the Marxists. Tax the rich, seize assets, redistribute wealth. That's their 3.
Yep.
They don't talk about the environment. Go look at the Marxist thing from DSA. They don't talk about the environment. They're not talking about green. They're not talking about those things. Let's go back 2008, Pat, to Obama's platform. I'm going to head it in bullets real fast. Obama's platform. We need progressive social reform for abortion and gay rights. Number 2, we need healthcare reform. Number 3, we need a middle-class tax relief. Number 4, we need educational access. And number 5, oh yeah, the environment. That was Obama's platform. None of that is in tax the rich, seize the property, bring in more communists, and by the way, there's to elimination of the middle class. 20 years, Pat. In less than 20 years, look where we come.
Yep.
Adam.
Yeah, well, you brought up, well, it's a big tent. It's a big tent. And you know who was also in a big tent? Clowns.
All of them.
And Bill Maher said it best. He said, I'm not voting for anyone who thinks that the wrong side won the Cold War or that's cheering for the Intifada like it's the World Cup. But I actually respect everything that Scott Galloway just said. I respect what Bill Maher's saying. I respect what James Carville's saying. I actually respect what Mamdani's saying because, they say when someone tells you who they are, believe them. Mamdani's telling you who he is.
He's been saying
the DSA is telling you who you are. They say promise is made, promise is kept. He's going to seize the means of production. He's going full commie. They say no, never go full.
Yeah.
He's going full commie. So you have to respect the fact that that's what he believes in.
Oh yeah, I'm
that's
not mad.
What he says.
I'm not mad at him.
That's what he says, and that's what he's doing. So why are you shocked? Here's my opinion on Trump, because at the end of the day, there's going to be a reckoning in 2028. We're not going to have it now. There's going to be a reckoning in 2028.
Going to be a
because they're not going to be. That's true.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to have. In Scarface, he says, "Point over there. That's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Say goodnight to the bad guy." There's not going to be the bad guy anymore. And here's what's happening with the Democratic Party. They said, we hate Trump. We're not with Trump. We're not with Trump. The communists said, we're also not with Trump. They're like, come on in. And by the way, we also hate you, regular Democrat.
Limousine liberal. I want your house.
Exactly. Liberal capitalist. Yeah. We hate you too. But the problem is the call's coming from inside the house.
Yeah.
And it might be too late.
And by the way, a Wall Street Journal did a story. The Democrats' biggest donors have gone on a strike. And I don't want to stay on this. I'm just going to finish on this and move on to the next story. Soros and his son Alex donated more than $400,000 to the DNC during 2018 midterms, over $1 million in 2022. But this year, they have not given yet a dollar. LinkedIn co-founder Rita Hoffman, another longtime DNC donor, has also written no checks this cycle. The joke among some donors right now is the DNC stands for Do Not Contribute. Months ahead of pivotal midterms, Democratic fundraising apparatus lagged behind Republicans across the board with MAGA Inc. holding. You ready for this, Vinny? Check this out. Very important number, Tom. I don't know if you've seen this. MAGA Inc. holding. Right now, it's sitting on $400.6 million to DNC sitting on only $16.3 million.
Right.
And the Senate and the House committee similarly outpaced. Some frustration stems from how money was spent in 2024 with Kamala Harris reaching over $1 billion, but still lost after a rushed nomination process. Divisions over Gaza, anti-Semitism, Democratic Socialists have also fractured the donor base. Former Harris fundraiser Rufus Gifford, Democratic Socialists have also publicly called for the DNC chairman Ken Martin to step down, saying he is simply not meeting in the critical moment. Defenders note the DNC raised more by June 2026 than in the same period of 2017-2018. While some donors shun central committees, they are still opening wallets for other candidates like James Tallarico, who raised $55 million against Paxton, John Ossoff, who raised $34 million, more than 10 times an opponent. And then the DNC carries $18 million in debt because of Kamala Harris and has previously consistently outraised by Republicans reports of internal discord, including Martin. So remember, this is important because they keep saying Republicans are having a lot of problems. Guess what? The Democrats are really having a lot of problems because they have to decide you're either a socialist or you're not. Because the face of your party right now is a socialist. The face
Yes.
of the Democratic Party. Who is the face of the Democratic Party right now?
Right now, it's AOC.
AOC
or
and Mamdani.
Communists.
I think
it's called communist,
guys.
guys.
I think Mamdani is the strongest face.
Which, while I'm on this, let me get to the next one for you. So now remember, this was Wall Street Journal.
Yes.
Credible, all big. Reid Hoffman reads Wall Street Journal every day.
Yeah.
Okay? Soros reads Wall Street Journal and his team reports it back to him. They have to know what WSJ says, right?
Yes.
You know who else they're reading? CBS. Here's what CBS had to say. Newsom blamed Trump for high-speed rail $4 billion funding. Records show California never bought the trains it promised. This is a CBS News story. Not Fox, not Daily Caller, not Daily Wire, but Fox. Not Breitbart, but CBS.
Not Vinny.
Let me read it to you.
Thanks, Tom.
California's high-speed rail authority repeatedly missed key deadlines to buy its trains. A failure federal official cited when they pulled $4 billion in funding a year ago. More than a year and a half later, the original deadline, the authority still cannot say when it expects to award the contract. The date remains to be determined. And Governor Newsom called the federal withdrawal a political stunt to punish California. Again, blaming Trump. So who does he get? You know this guy's name. Attorney General Rob Bonta. If you don't know who he is, pull him up. Everybody should know who this guy is. Sued to stop what he called Trump's politically motivated attack. Yet 6 months later, California quietly dropped the lawsuit. You know when? 2 days before Christmas with no press release and no explanation. Because no one's paying attention
Nobody
to what's
is.
going on.
They're shopping.
Grant
and there's bull
documents signed during Biden administration required the rail authority to execute a train set contract by December 31st, 2024. California missed the deadline. In sworn court filings, the authority issued a federal judge it would execute a contract by December 1st, which is 12 months later in 2025, but missed that deadline too, canceling the board meeting where the contract was expected to be approved. Multiple sources said missing the revised deadline undercuts California's legal argument that it could be trusted to meet future deadlines. By missing the deadline, it set itself in court. The state had effectively proven the federal government point. The project was not on track. And this is when it gets nasty. This year, January, Newsom boasted that California is finally laying the tracks of the nation's first high-speed rail system. Laying. When the governor says laying, what does it mean?
They're doing construction. They're starting.
Or he's hanging out with the wife of his campaign manager.
Does it mean we're starting or we're going to?
We're laying the track.
We are laying. We are finally laying the track. His words, quote, finally laying the tracks of the nation's first high-speed rail system, but the state had not actually laid anything.
So he's lying.
High-speed rail track. What it built was a railhead, a logistics depot to receive and stage materials. Newsom is losing CBS and mainstream media. That you are not keeping your promises to Californians. How the hell are you going to keep your promises to Americans and you say you want to be a president? Tom, your thoughts on the story?
Well, first of all, the reason CBS is covering it because they have permission to cover it. They spike other stories. We saw Dana Bash, we'll talk about a little bit later, and absolutely beside herself, cheerleading for the Dems. And now they have permission, Pat. They have been given permission to hit, and they are hitting hard. The reason you can't buy train cars with $4 billion of the federal dollars, there was no track, so there's no place to put the train cars. Wouldn't you buy them and put them in storage? Yeah, I'm finally laying tracks instead of laying the wife of my campaign manager.
Whoa.
Here it is.
Whoa.
There we go.
Shots fired.
It's a fact.
Tom for the win.
But the issue, Pat, is that is now, mainstream media is now calling out Newsom for the gaps, calling him out for the fraud, and calling him out for these things. And they have permission to do so because
What do you mean when you say permission? Do you think
DNC
CBS
would not let this go out?
So you think CBS first contacts DNC and says, are you okay with us writing this?
They talk, all the networks talk to the RNC DNC. They talk to everybody. And they've got, every presidential candidate has got someone.
You don't think it's just the fact that Ellisons are now taking over and the BS is gone and you better start writing fairly and honestly? Like, can we find out who actually was a writer of this article? Can you go to that article and let's see who wrote it? Who is the person that wrote it? And can we even go to previous things she's written? Type in Julie Watts, CBS. Continue, Tom. I just want to know what happened here.
So and maybe I'm a little hyperbolic here, but my point is you don't see mainstream media, even in the Ellison era, it says going out and hitting. You have things, and by the way, we've had there have been conversations that said that we've been holding stories or that we've been going light on stories. And so
this is a 22-time Emmy Award-winning journalist? Damn.
Yeah. And
so guess what? When a person like this, go up a little bit where it says 1.7 million COVID, go down to the 5th paragraph, go a little bit lower. Right there. What was that right there? In 2022, Julia was honored with National Press Club and Emmy Award. The COVID lab state secret exposed. The 14-month investigation was prompted by whistleblowers, including California's $1.7 million testing lab. Okay, so no, Tom, I don't think this is the one that needed permission. I think she legitimately is somebody that does her job right, that's calling out California because she's got the reputation to do so. Wow. Have you ever heard about her or no?
I know the trial by. I did not know she was the author of Trial by Fire.
Good for her. Good for her to have done something like this. Tom, how bad is it when a Newsom, California, loses someone like CBS like this? This is not a regular person writing this article. How bad is it for Newsom?
Well, I think it's very bad. I mean, we were talking about Newsom a week ago on the trend of his polling, the trend of his the likability, the net positivity rating, the net approval rating, as they say, people that approve, disapprove, and stuff, and how his net is low and has been trending down. All of those numbers are now on the board. The numbers are screaming, and now the words are talking. And in this case, I'll step back from my saying permission, but I still say that when the mainstream media is out there talking about it, the DNC tries everything they can to stop it. Now, in the case of CBS and this Emmy Award-winning reporter, okay, I'll give you that, but it is bad news for Newsom on top of last week's bad numbers for Newsom.
Check this out.
Yeah,
Look at this here with Kalshi. Okay, $67 million put up. So this is not this is real money. 96% chance that Javier Becerra is going to become the governor. Steve Hilton, who we've had on, is only at 4%. And you know what Javier Becerra is? Javier Becerra is more of an AOC Mamdani type of a camp. Then he's even worse than Newsom, is what a lot of people say.
That's exactly.
So
buckle up, California. Yeah. You get what you vote for.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question though, and I'm very curious. So CBS has to know if you're going to run that story, Newsom is neck and neck with AOC, then you're knowingly and willingly letting the communist wing of your party move up. They have to know that. They're not stupid. And this goes back to my point about what the Democrats stand for. Look at what was Newsom's platform. Newsom's platform is Trump, 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 Trump. And then finally, Pat, people looked and went, wait a minute. You just put out your fake tax thing. You lied about this. You lied about the homeless. You lied about everything. And again, they're left with it. This is the party that they've left with that they deserve, Pat. And I hope
to see the income that they put up on how much money he made. I don't know if you saw that or not. ABC News tax returns shows that California's Newsom was earning between $1.7 to $2 million a year annually. This was just put up 2 days ago. Newsom and his wife made $1.7 to $2 million annually from 2000 state tax, according to no more than 700 pages of tax return released by his office. The filing offer a window into Newsom's finances as he prepares to leave office and consider a bid for 2028. When the family sold a Martin County house for $6 million and reported $4.2 million in income that year, that was in 19. And then it was the first time he returned since 2022. Newsom earned around, so $1.7 to $2 million they make annually between the two of them.
Yeah, and his wife allegedly dropped $200,000 on household staff and wrote a $45,000 a write-off on Armani clothing. So that's the type of people that I want.
Everybody does that. Everybody writes off $45,000 for Armani.
Pat, that was last week for me. So yeah. It's funny though, and Tom, I'm that's the last time I'm going to say this is what they get. This is what you get when you don't hold your own politicians foot to the fire and make them step up, because everything has been about Trump. So okay, good for you.
Well, what's going to be interesting.
Yes,
is you have to realize Newsom's camp and AOC's camp and Mamdani's camp, they're not on the same page.
No, I don't think so.
Don't think they're on the same page.
Well, Newsom will go on to any page.
That's what I was just going to say about Newsom. Newsom will jump on any boat.
Newsom is worse than John Kerry. You know what they used to call John Kerry?
Flip-flopper.
He was a flip-flopper.
Worse than LeBron?
Not as worse. No, that's the GOAT.
Okay. Mamdani is not a flip-flopper.
He's not a flip-flopper.
Look, talk is cheap, man. And I'm sick of people just saying what they're going to do. Show me. Show me the money, our friend Cuba Gooding. Show me your resume. When people come for a job, they have to show you the resume. You look at the resume of some of these cast of characters that are in the DSA and the Democratic Party this morning. Unfortunately, their resume is basically blank. You have career politicians who've never had a real job. You have a former waitress, okay? You have a failed rapper. You have professors who have never taught business. They don't have anything on their resume. So in the capitalist side of things,
coconut,
you have freedom, free enterprise. Look at their resume. They've built these businesses. I'm really fixated on this concept of freedom because on the right side of things, you have freedom. And on the left side of things, you have free and dumb. It's really what it comes down to, because everything's free with these people. Free housing, free healthcare, free college, free borders, open the borders, free prisons, open the prison. Of course, free Palestine. Who doesn't want a free Palestine? At the end of the day, I want a businessman. I want people who have built something. I want somebody legitimately, when they come for the job, look at their resume and look at their accomplishments. Stop telling me what you're going to do. Show me the money.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's a real concern going in that for Republicans, the part that they got to figure out is affordability. They really do. You can't be cocky about it and arrogant about it. It's a real issue. There's a story that came out in Axios. I don't want to go into it, but one of the main things it talks about in this Axios story is one of the top jobs of CEOs right now is finding out the cost of insurance for their employees. It's a real thing. People are having a hard time with affordability. You got to be thinking about it while they're going through it. But Democrats cannot get along. There's an internal war right now going on. And I think the shit show in 2028, I think it's going to be more on the Democratic side, the Republican side. But I'm still telling you, I think AOC is going to be their candidate. I'm still telling you because you know what they don't need?
No way.
Listen to me.
No way.
Listen, let me tell you this. Hear me out for a second. Hear me out for a second.
Yes, sir.
People say the following. And this is the thing that I'm gonna take off these glasses.
Oh, shake it.
Oh,
See, that was
I wasn't gonna listen when you took the glasses off.
And
I'm at attention right now, sir.
Take them off.
Oh man,
do the fake Scott Pelley thing. He used to take off his
sir.
glasses.
Whoa. The Chuck Schumer?
No.
Yeah.
Whenever my dad looked over the top of his glasses, bad things were about to happen.
This is the first time I've done it in my life.
That was
so
awesome.
But let me tell you.
this.
No. When you got my nose, you need extra large glasses. you need like a width. But let me tell you what's going on. So check this out. Typically, Democrats will say there's not a socialist that's going to win because the money people are not going to show up to them, right? So guess what? Did money people show up for Kamala? They lined up.
They burnt $1 billion in a couple months.
What happened?
Yeah.
Big loss.
So guess what? Socialists don't need the money. They don't need the money.
Yeah.
They don't.
They just need the idea of free stuff.
Of course,
They don't need the money. They are 10 times better in marketing than Mamdani will do one video that'll get 150 million views.
Yep.
He doesn't need the $7 million to put on the ads. AOC will do videos that will get 50 million views. No.
Hey, Pat, I hear you loud and clear, sir. Okay?
Yeah. Completely different.
Now.
We'll see. All right, let's get into the next story. Next story I want to get into is what happened in Idaho, the In-N-Out shooting. Can you guys tell me what page that's on? Trying to see, is that an addendum story? Is that a story?
It's addendum.
Is it addendum? If you can tell me what page it's on. Tragic what happened there. If you want to play the video, we all saw this video. Play the clip, the 32-second clip. We all saw this video. We're like, what is going on here? I mean, this guy's just going
nuts.
So explain this. Who's this kid? This young guy.
His name is
This is like some liberal Redditor
His name is
guy?
Chad, of all names.
Yeah, so this guy is out there shooting. By the way, he ends up killing 3 people at In-N-Out, 9 hospitalized. One of the, I think 7 injured. 3 of them are in a hospital right now, not doing well at all. This is at the Twin Falls, Idaho, Saturday afternoon on August 1st. 24-year-old gunman Chad Williams approached a crowded restaurant armed with an AR-style rifle. Eyewitnesses reported Williams opened fire near the drive-thru lane. An armed civilian in a vehicle engaged Williams with a handgun, forcing the suspect to retreat towards an adjacent area where he took his own life. Among the wounded, 2 victims were treated and released from St. Luke Magic Valley Emergency Department. 3 remain in stable condition, and 2 remain in critical condition. In-N-Out owner Lindsay Snyder had to issue a statement because one of the employees that was killed was their employee. And this was at 2:29 p.m. when the 911 call was made. 2:33, armed civilian engaged shooter in the drive-thru lane. Shooter flees behind the building. 2:36, 2 Falls. Police arrive. Suspect found dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. And 6 p.m., authorities lift local shelter-in-place orders after confirming no secondary threat. So, Vinny, there's a story that came out about the fellow that went up against him. Do you want to tell us about it?
So Jordan Salinas, we have to give him a shout out because in a world where we never give the heroes any credit, no major media networks are going to talk about him. This guy's 35 years old. He's a healthcare worker, full-time caregiver of his brother who's in a wheelchair. By the way, this statement doesn't get more American than this. He was riding horseback with his girlfriend the morning of the shooting. They pulled into In-N-Out for lunch, and he saw what was going on, and this guy went into full-on hero mode. Okay, and this is, again, Pat, this is what I think is the type of person we should be recognizing. He fought back. He started shooting at this guy, and he kept him at bay. So think about it. This guy could be going around shooting more people in the parking lot. He's engaged with Jordan. Jordan keeps him down. The cops show up. They start engaging, and this guy, like a coward, shoots himself and takes his own life. And it's always crazy with the mainstream media when it's the other side. They always want to point out when the bad things happen, but not one story except on X about the hero, and maybe on Fox. I saw in the New York Post. This guy steps up and he kills this dude. And 2 years. This is his Facebook post, guys, from 2 years prior. Look at what he writes at the end. He says, train like your life depends on it, because God forbid one day it might. Stay free, stay safe, and stay frosty. This is the type of dude, if you're unarmed and you're chilling at In-N-Out and some psycho starts shooting, that's who you want. You want some guy that's out in the middle of the desert by himself, just training for that type of stuff. So God bless him, and I'm happy that he was there, Pat, because a lot more people could have been killed if it wasn't for this guy putting suppressive fire down.
Tom.
This is what happens when you have a trained populace that is sensible and sane with Second Amendment. Idaho is ranked 50th for armed robbery muggings. Why do you think that is?
Yeah. Jordan.
Because there's a different lottery in Idaho called you have a 61% chance of encountering an armed citizen. And would you like to maybe send up a few of the muggers from Sacramento and send them to Idaho? Mm-hmm. Hey, guys, go mug a few people in Idaho. There's a 61% chance you're going to encounter an armed citizen, or the people around them to save them, 61% chance they're armed. What do you think of the lottery? I think I'm going to go back and buy lottery fraud tickets in Sacramento. Yeah. Good choice. Yeah. That's what's going on. I'm not making light of the situation. I'm using that to make a point. Here you have Idaho is ranked also, ready for this, the second or third safest state on multiple vectors and vectors of analysis by safehome.org. And then people like to say, oh, but so many people have guns. And then they have the lobby likes to say, Idaho has the weakest gun laws. Well, maybe some other states need some weak gun laws, if you're going to call them weak, similar to Idaho, because this was a trained citizen putting himself in peril to come out and assist, and then an off-duty officer was there. And so I am sickened, and I want to know what drove this kid to it. Mm-hmm. Once again, the mental health crisis in the country. Let's go talk about that. When did we know? What could have been done? But when it came down to stopping what was going on before it got even more tragic and more worse, the citizens stepped in.
And on top of that, Pat, you know this. Anybody that's from California or any In-N-Out, I don't care what In-N-Out you go to, the line is around a story came out where they stopped. Tom, you read it? They had to stop putting cones In-N-Out just because of the traffic being so bad. They had to put cones in the street to like hoard people in. This could have been a lot worse because the line is always. He could have just gone to every single car and just shot every single driver. But the Jordan Salinas stepping up saved a bunch of people's lives.
God bless you, Jordan.
Yep.
Well, if there's anybody that deserves free In-N-Out for life,
it's
this
Jordan.
guy, Jordan Salinas in Idaho. Respect to you, sir, if you ever see this. They always say, the only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. Yep. Well, that's living proof that this guy saved how many lives?
A bunch.
I mean, whoever this guy was, I don't even want to say his name, the perpetrator, let's not forget, he killed 3 people. Just showed up an In-N-Out burger, killed 3 people, and there were other people wounded, so we don't know what's going to happen.
That's a great point. How much ammunition did he die with?
Who knows?
Because those were saved.
And, they say, you see on the trains or on buses, you see it around town, if you see something, say something. Well, this guy, Jordan, was basically like, hold my beer, and he has a 4-step process here. Did you see this? It says, observe, orient, decide, and act. So this guy just on a horseback with his girlfriend at In-N-Out Burger sees something. He doesn't just say something, he does something. I can't tell you what an absolute hero this is. Last point, you know when you go to In-N-Out, always get it animal style.
Of course.
This guy is an animal, a beast, a hero, and a stud, and everyone should thank him.
Here's a question for you. How many Jordans you think we have in America? Like literally, how many Jordans you think we have in America that will line up ready to defend their country?
A lot.
Well,
Give me a number. What do you think the number?
Millions.
Give me a high-low.
Millions.
Give me a high-low. How many Jordans do we have in America?
Of 300 million people?
Of 340 million people. How many do we have in America?
I would hope we have 10%.
3 million.
I was going to say,
I would hope we have
I would say at least 40 to 50 million that are ride or die, that are not out there bragging, are silent, and like, if it pops off, Pat, they're stepping.
If we have 5 million, we're good.
Yeah.
That's all it's going to
And I think we have a lot
And
more.
I think we got 5 million plus.
You know what it is? You ask a very good question. I think that we have 5 million, let's say. But I also think that there's another 10, 20, 50 million that at any given point they say, you know what?
F it. Yeah, I'm in.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in, bro. Because there's a lot of people I just want to live my life. But at some point when your life is basically comes down to the wire, you will step up.
See, this is the part when you go to Europe and you see what's going on in Spain. And you saw those guys that came in from Morocco. And, you know, because you don't have Second Amendment, there's videos of a guy running up, hitting, punching, doing all this stuff. You know what the count is now, right? I think it's 70.
That's correct. They crossed 70 deaths. If you're looking for that number.
72 people have died in Ceuta. 72.
72
is the number now. Yes, 72 migrants died during a mass crossing attempt. And as of August 2nd, citing drowning and stampedes at the breakwater fence. Moroccan authorities report an additional 11 deaths on their side of the border. The influx temporarily increased the enclave population by over 50%. Spanish civil guard and military forces deployed armored vehicles. If they had Second Amendment, you wouldn't be doing that. If they had Second Amendment for them to protect it, it'd be a little bit of a different story where people could protect themselves. Although some may say, well, really, if that's the case, how will we be able to get 10 or 15 million people crossing in U.S. across our border? And we have Second Amendment. But people are afraid to use it. God forbid they get arrested. And in some of these blue states, it goes against you. Now, let me go to a complete different story. Let's go into a business story. A story of a guy named Leopold Aschenbrenner. Okay? Great. Very interesting story. And let me tell you what happened with this story. This guy, born in Germany, at 15 years old, he's a phenom. He goes to Columbia University. He becomes valedictorian of the university at 19 years old.
At 15, he goes to the college.
15 goes to university. Damn. At 19 years old, he graduates valedictorian from an Ivy League school in 2021. Immediately starts working for SPF's philanthropy leg that he has. Then from there, he joins OpenAI, works for Sam Altman from 2023 to 2024 on their super alignment project on AI safety and a couple other things. Then he leaks information, I believe, to an executive of Anthropic. Because of that, he gets fired. When he gets fired, about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, he writes a report that goes viral, a 165-page report that he writes, he calls Situational Awareness. When he writes this report, guess who reads it? Every major AI investor, all the billionaires are like, what is this all about? Because of that, he gets interest from people. He creates his own hedge fund, Vinny, called Situational Awareness, based on the report that he wrote. He gets approached by the founder of GitHub. He gets approached by folks that are, I believe, with brothers that started Stripe, if I'm not mistaken, the billionaire brothers. And instead of like going out there and getting money from the bigger guys, he gets money from billionaires. And next thing you know, it starts off with $225 million. And he says, rather than investing where everybody else is investing, we're going to go to a different place. We're going to invest in the people that are building the infrastructure. So it's going to complete. He bets on AI infrastructure. His biggest, single largest holding was a company called Nebius, NBIS. At one point, 40% of portfolio was just this company. Damn. Can you type in Nebius, NBIS, so we can kind of look it up on what they do? Just kind of go to their profile. The other companies that he invests in is SanDisk, memory chip maker, Micron, CoreWave, SKH in Korea. The ones he shorted means you're going up against. Like, these guys are not going to make it. Adobe was one of them that he shorts against. And, you know, why would you short against Adobe? Well, first 6 months of the year, this guy is Warren Buffett on steroids.
Dang.
He is Jim Simons on steroids from Renaissance Technologies. The first 6 months of the year, his return, if you invested with them, made 439%, Vinny, in 6 months. Do you know how long it would take you to make 439%? So think about it this way. Investment company Active America Mutual Fund with American funds since the last since 1934, I believe, has done 12%. 12% would take you 30 years to get 439%. Give or take, it's not 30 years, but it would take you 20 years to get that kind of return. He does it in 6 months. Now everyone's coming.
Yeah.
Now you got like, hey,
take my money.
You got money from everybody. We're talking, the bigger guys are now showing up. It's like, hey, do you need more money from us? So his fund goes from $225 million, $2 billion to $2 billion to $45 billion. How
long?
But what the guy, in 18 months.
Jeez.
But with Vinny, so at this point, he's a billionaire. He's putting up his wedding, big wedding he's putting up in Carmel. He's going through his wedding, but he does a margin call.
Which is what?
Here's how it works. When I was 20 years old, I got out of the Army. I come out and I buy some stocks. And then it was either E-Trade or I think it was E-Trade. They're like, hey, you know you can do margin on this. How does margin work? You put up $2,000, we'll give you $2,000 of debt. No way. Yes. And I'm like, this stock's going to go. So you put it in. So it's $2,000. Just think about $2,000 on credit card debt, $2,000 of your own money.
Okay.
Which means if you make 50%, you really made how much money? 100%.
Yeah.
So then you pay off your debt and you keep that money.
Yep.
But you made 100% of your money.
Yeah.
You know how much margin this guy does?
Huh.
In some cases, he's 4x margin. That means for every $1 billion, he's borrowed $3 billion. Which means if the money goes up 25%, you didn't make 25%, you made 100%.
Because times 4.
But if the money goes down 25%, you lost all of it.
Oh, man.
Bye-bye to all of it. Now, not all of it was margin. Some of it was margin. So he blows up. He goes up. The next thing you know, they're sitting there wondering what's going to be happening, what'll take place. And then the market tanks. At the same time, all the ones that he bet on, they dropped 35% in 1 month. NBIS, SanDisk, Micros, CoreWave, all of them drop roughly 30. You heard what I just said to you. So imagine, you ever seen the movie Margin Call? I don't know.
Yeah, with Kevin Spacey.
Most stressful thing you see.
God.
Drops 35%. And while he does that, the stock he shorted, Adobe, guess what happened to Adobe?
It shot up.
It goes up.
Oh, wow.
So
this is the GameStop story, but on steroids.
Yeah, so
this is the definition of high risk, high reward.
One people jump off the buildings in New York.
And according to CNBC, prime brokers of Bank of America, Goldman, JP Morgan Chase started calling him. And on July 30th, it was over. CNBC reported a fund exited almost all of its public investments. Roughly 2/3 was in public equities. And the person that got involved, and this is how he makes his money, which I'm going to go to Vinny. By the way, I want to give a quick shout out to this guy.
Vinny.
Now, I'm going to go to Tom. I want to give a quick shout out to Alex Tamiz from Live Trading Investing Club. I watch a lot of videos. His breakdown was the best one out of everybody. Shout out to you, Alex, if you're watching this. Phenomenal job on the way you broke this thing down. And then Citadel's Ken Griffin comes in. He says, don't worry about it, guy.
Oh, the little wing?
I'll bail you out.
Got you.
I'll bail you out. Now, the fund goes from 0 to $45 billion. Now it's down to $10 billion. And everyone's thinking this guy's completely down, wiped out, doesn't have a penny to his name. He's still worth $300 million, Vinny. So if you're worried about it, he's doing okay. Tom, walk me through what happens next with Ken Griffin.
So what's very interesting, Boca Raton's own Ken Griffin, who went to a public high school in Boca Raton, opened up a math class.
Like someone I know. You also went to.
My sister was at the high school at the same time he was. He's a little younger than me. But that guy grows up, builds Citadel, leaves Chicago, building the big thing in Miami. Welcome back to Florida, Ken. So here's what happened. So somebody needs to provide liquidity to the market. Otherwise, there was going to be what's called a cascade. A cascade is another fancy word for effing waterfall. And an effing waterfall, where everything starts going, Vinny, they call it a cascade because if you're in the boat and suddenly a waterfall breaks, the current picks up, your boat starts traveling in the current, and you get pulled over the waterfall with everybody else. So you need liquidity providers to come in. A liquidity provider could be a white knight. Well, so half of the people are saying, Ken Griffin, this predator, it was a distressed purchase. He bought it at a discount. He's just buying until the rebound. Okay. You're going to go with that? Those are the cynics. The other side are saying this, saying, thank God Ken came in and prevented the cascade and created a relief rally because he provided liquidity. What did he provide liquidity for? What was this? When it's a margin call, you know what they do with all those stocks represented? Number one, you have to cover your debt. They have you sell all the stocks urgently, and that money goes to pay the debt called the overhang. Make sense? But when you're selling all those stocks, what does everybody at Wall Street do? They look up at the big board and they go, wow, what the hell's going on, man? Everything's selling. It's a sell-off. Oh my gosh, it's a sell-off. Hey, get in. Don't get left out. Sell now before it goes down further. That's the cascade. Make sense?
Got it.
Ken Griffin comes in and goes, wait a minute. I'm going to go buy it. So he bought the entire book of positions and injected liquidity into the market. And rather than all of those being sold like wild on the market, Citadel bought them. Enter the cynics who then say, boy, I guess he sure made it. Well, wait a minute. Luck is where opportunity makes preparation.
Yep.
Ken Griffin had liquidity on the balance sheet on behalf of the Citadel investors to take advantage of opportunities for Citadel. So number one, he served his own customers. Number two, what people don't see and what I've read and what people are talking about this morning is that Citadel provided liquidity and it didn't get sold on the open market like a wild party. And that's where it went. So I think at the end of the day, did Ken Griffin act self-interested? Sure he did. Did he act for his people? Sure he did. Did he get a discount? Absolutely. Is it going to pay off for him? Yes. But we also didn't have a cascade and a waterfall happening.
So, Tom, how risky is it to do margin call the way this guy did it? It's how risky. Have you ever done margin? Have you ever bought stocks on margin?
I've bought stocks on margin, but I've never bought stocks on margin in volatile areas. I was tempted to buy on margin way back at the time. I had friends that were buying. Do you remember Akamai? Cisco, Juniper Systems, Sun,
JDS Uniphase, all those guys.
Uniphase, EMC,
Qualcomm, QQQ,
Qualcomm,
the stock.
Exactly.
Yes.
You know what all those are, Vinny? We're just naming them.
What?
Guess what? That was the infrastructure of the internet. This guy was buying the infrastructure of AI.
Yeah.
And I had friends that were buying on all that. They said, hey, every day the internet goes up, it's more Lucent chips. It's more, Cisco routers. It's more of that. And there were two companies in there that everybody got jumping on. One was WorldCom and one was Global Crossing. I remember this distinctly. And so I had friends doing it and I said, listen, I'm basically can't say anything to you because WorldCom was trying to buy Sprint and I kept my integrity. I did not talk to friends what I knew was going on WorldCom and Sprint. WorldCom attempted to buy Sprint and then the deal broke. And Bernie Ebbers, CEO of WorldCom, for other things, ended up in jail. And then Global Crossing had a guy named Gary that was from Beverly Hills, if you look it up. He ended up in trouble. I knew that was coming. So I was really worried about what's called the pipes, all the fiber and all the telecom. I was worried about the pipes. And I thought, man, I don't know about this. So I did not buy internet on margin, but I had many friends did. And guess what? Similar things happen, not on the order of Leopold. Similar things happen. Have I bought on margin things like Nortel?
Yeah, so it was short time. It was just a question. I'm just wondering, like, if you had done it or not, and what happened with your experience. So I bought on margin myself.
Sorry,
and when you don't, like, when you go through it, like when they call you, it's like, hey man, you got to pay that debt back. And then if you don't have it, you're like, how do you want me to pay that? You don't have a choice because you have to guarantee, like. But some of these guys, that was on $2,000, $4,000. I'm 20 years old. I just got out of the Army. I'm trying to be a stockbroker.
Yeah.
You know about $45 billion?
Jeez.
And you're doing it 4x margin, and people are okay with. By the way, the number goes from $0 to $45 billion. It's down to $10 billion. But you know what it still tells you? $10 billion of money still trust this guy.
Of course.
With the positions that he has, and he's still worth a few $100 million. He's not going to be going away. He just went out there and took a massive risk, and the timing of it, we'll see where this guy's going to be next, what he does next. A lot of time when you get guys like this at 23, 24 years old, you're going to hear this guy's name more and more and more on things he may be doing later on, but I think he's going to be now having a little bit more protection of people watching what he does next. All right, so let's go to the next story. Next story I want to get to is, a story that comes out about boomers who own $1 trillion of art collection that nobody wants, including their kids and including what do you call it? Including museums. They're like, nah, we also don't want it. What do you mean you don't want it? Nah, we don't want it. You mean to tell me you don't want these? No, we don't. Let me read it to you. Boomers are leaving behind more art than anyone wants. This is a Bloomberg story. Okay, Bloomberg story that you got. And right afterwards, I'm going to go into an art that you should want to get into, and I'll give you my thoughts on it. Why? So, nearly $1 trillion of art is expected to change hands in the coming decade as boomers' collections get passed down, but there will not be enough buyers or museums to absorb them all. The baby boomers spend money at an astonishing rate, creating unprecedented demand that produce an unprecedented supply. The ArtNet price database included 8,300 artists in 1988. By 2012, it's 90,275. So they went from having 8,300 artists now to winning 90,000 artists. Now millions of heirs face the challenge of what to do with the collections that were expensive to acquire but difficult to monetize. Watch how weird this is and why that is. The next generation don't want it. They want something different, says Philip Hoffman, chairman of the Fine Art Group, which advises 350 family office collections in 28 countries. He can only think of about 5 families that have thought about what happens next. The rest are in denial, believing their children would love to continue stewarding their collection. Finding buyers is extraordinarily difficult for most cases, since dead artists need committed dealers to resuscitate interest, and those dealers are few. Many try donating to museums, but that has become substantially harder. There is an avalanche coming, says Michael Darling of Museum Exchange. It's going to be difficult to metabolize all that art, museum, and nonprofits. Almost every major museum already has vastly more art than it can display. Wow. Yeah. And unless offered a masterpiece, it's not often hungry for more. Many now ask for cash donations to accompany art gifts to cover storage, insurance, and infrastructure costs. So we know there was a documentary done back in the days about art where this guy goes to, I think it's Picasso, and he says, hey, there's a young artist here locally. Picasso's on his deathbed. There's a young artist here locally. He says, would you mind if I come and show you his art? He just wants you to judge the art and tell me what you think about it. So he goes to Picasso. He looks at it. He says, it's not that good. He says, do you mind if I take a picture with you so I can show to the young artist that I did meet you and you gave some feedback? Says, yeah, no problem. Takes the picture. The moment Picasso dies, he goes and says, this is Picasso's last painting.
Was it Salvador Mundi?
I don't know which one this is. Not Salvador Mundi.
Okay, it's not.
He ends up selling it for millions of dollars.
Wow.
Then the documentary comes out saying that 70% of art ever sold is fraud. It's fake. Don't mess with it. 70% of art is sold that is fake. So now imagine these people are sitting on all this art that they bought to put on the wall that people are no longer interested in. What do you do now? While this is going on, it's very interesting. A Shohei Ohtani's card is out there that Kevin O'Leary and the biggest card collection guy named Shine, I've sat down with him. He came here, brought
the office.
He brought a $100 million card collection with him to show me. This was a year ago, 2 years ago. They put up a tweet and say, if anybody pulls this card, we have a $6.5 million bounty on this card. A father, if you can pull up the story on who the father is, a father goes to Boca Raton card store. He buys the box. Okay, the card was pulled, an anonymous collector at Boca Raton Sports Card in Florida. The anonymous collector sold the card to Secure Portfolio by Kevin O'Leary and Shine. You know for how much? $11 million is what they bought it for.
And can I give people perspective?
Yeah.
Those boxes are $250, $300, sometimes a little bit more, just for the box.
If you get them with guaranteed autographs in it, it's $500. If you get them with the guarantee, the box are $500. So they pulled this up. And the reason why this is special is because it's one of one, okay, 24 NL MVP, the jerseys that he actually wore, signed both in English and signed in the language where he comes from.
Kanji.
And so they paid $11 million. But do you know why people are going into card collectibles and more, less than art? Because these are certified.
Yeah.
These are graded.
Gotcha.
These are coming from the box that you know there's credibility behind it. You can find out if it's BS or not. Back in the days, a card of Honus Wagner that sold for $451,000 by the owner of the Kings and Wayne Gretzky, Bruce McNall, the two guys that bought it at a New York auction. That card that sold for $451 was cut by scissors. People know it. That's still a $5-10 million card today, but it's a very different business to get into with collectibles. So, Tom, when you hear the story, two things. One, boomers have $1 trillion of art that their kids and museums don't want. And you hear about what's going on with collectible cards. We were at the house in Hamptons. We're opening up a bunch of boxes. Tom was like, this is a good rookie. This is great. Watch the corners.
Tom was new to the cards, so Tom was like, what?
Yeah, that's how he holds cards.
Pat's like, what are you doing?
The way Tom held cards.
Tom was like, Tom was like, what is this, a Shohei? We're like, what are you doing?
Tom, go for it.
I remember I licked one of them. I said, does it still taste like the bubble gum?
Yeah, that's so
like,
those were the days.
What are you doing? Well, first of all, in the artwork, it's not surprising. I had an Andy Warhol moonwalk, and I had artist proof number 4, Roman numeral 4 in pencil by Andy Warhol. And now I have to say, all these years later, as far as I know, I had artist proof number 4. Mm-hmm. Even though I bought it from Martin Lawrence Gallery in San Francisco.
Martin Lawrence?
Yeah.
From Def Comedy Jam?
No.
Martin Lawrence Gallery. That was it. So I did what I could. I'm asking Pat's question. And the first part is, I did what I could. But even back then, people would say, you got to be really careful. You got to be really careful. So it doesn't surprise me that museums aren't very popular. And there's so much how do you get your Warhol certified? Some years later, the thing was $400,000 in LA because they had a Warhol festival and there were people there that knew what they were doing that were certifying. But that was it. So if you don't have Keith Haring, if you don't have Warhol, or you have something you know, Pat, that story is exactly right. Art is a train wreck. This is fantastic. It can be certified. It can be validated. And when you have confidence and shortage in a market, guess what you have? Value. And right now, collectors can be confident. It can be validated. And damn it, it's pretty exciting what goes on here. And
when you break it?
I thought it was really exciting. And I understand the value of this. Shohei rarely signs his name in kanji on purpose. He rarely does it, number one. Number two, these are uniform patches. Number three, it's one of one. And so you're looking at it like this. This is going to gain nothing but value. It's the same philosophy that went behind Bitcoin. Specifically, they say there's only going to be this many Bitcoin, and we know it's going to be measured on the blockchain. And so, Pat, I think what an exciting time if you're collecting the right thing.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, if you're watching this and you're in the space and you collect cards, we're thinking about buying 50, 100 boxes, cases, literally cases, and going to the lounge that we have and breaking them together, okay? And going through it. And if you're somebody that's a
no
breaker,
smoking that night.
No smoking that night. Definitely not.
If
you're a breaker and you want to be a part of it and bring your own box, maybe we'll do something together to be a part of this. It's an incredible feeling. Like nowadays, I don't see any reason to buy lottery tickets.
No.
You buy these cards, you get a rookie card, you set them aside, your kids are going to later on sell it, do something 10, 20 years down the line, be worth something. At least there is something you're getting in return. This guy bought a box and pulls an $11 million card rather than going and buying lottery. There is no point to replace buying lottery tickets with buying baseball.
I agree, because you know who's the winner?
I'm telling you right now.
You know who's the winner for every lottery? The government takes almost a third of the government wins every single time.
Well, then they give you an annuity and then a settlement.
Well, the card situation is like the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the golden ticket. You are so excited because you have no idea. And this type of story, I think, is going to boost the top sales, boost all these card sales. And by the way, with Shohei Ohtani, Tom, you made a great point. It's only going to go up. They just signed, who they signed? Tariq Skubal. They look like they're going to keep winning championships. And Ohtani's...
the Dodgers signed Skubal?
Yeah, Tom. Don't even start. I don't want to get into it.
Adam.
I love this story because it's actually a bigger testament to what's going on in the world. Yeah, when I first started doing content, I was doing money content. I remember one of the things I talked about is there was a slogan in the 80s. Tom, remember this? It was, "He who dies with the most toys wins."
Oh, yeah. T-shirts, posters. It was like
a whole mantra for life. And basically what they found out was all these toys, when you die, they say, when you die, you can't take it with you. So what did that lead to? Buying bigger houses, having 2 cars, debt, jet skis, this, that, the other. And then all of a sudden, you can't take it with you. And then an article came out in the Washington Post, and it says, "He who dies with the most toys no longer wins." And what happens is young people, especially people with brains, realizing that it's not all about the possessions. They're very focused on experiences. They want to travel. They want to see the world. They want to be with their friends. There you go. He who dies with the most toys still dies. That's true. And now you're going to tell young people, especially even wealthy young people, but young people, hey, we're going to give you all this art. And they're going to go, I don't got a house to put it in, and I don't got walls to put all this art in. So I'm gonna pass on the art, and I'd rather have an experience here. The second thing, when it comes down to art, we've had our experience with NFTs and non-fungible
I don't touch
things,
NFTs.
anything like that.
I don't.
But
I've never touched it. I'll never touch NFTs.
it's not your thing, I know. But the whole point
or
is
meme coins. Like I was approached by, hey Pat, you can make a quick $10 million meme coins. I said, I'm not interested in meme.
It's not
coins.
the thing.
I'm good.
But the whole concept is that it's non-duplicatable, and that's why I think why you like these baseball cards. I'll never forget when you sold your Wayne Gretzky in 2020, and then we had a whole thing, and then a couple years later, someone else sold it. It was like double the price at that point. But you know that it's graded. I remember, I'll never forget, I was in South Beach, and everyone's still standing in line, looking at during Art Basel. Everyone's like, what are we in line for? It's like, there's a banana on the wall with tape. It's a $10 million. Yeah, it's a $10 million banana. And then you see a video of a guy just eating a banana.
The guy that put it up.
But you don't know what you're getting with the art, but at least you know what you're getting with these cards.
Yes.
Save that money.
So if you're a breaker, connect me. Send me a connect. Maybe we'll invite you and we'll do something together. We'll break boxes. Maybe we'll put a requirement of bringing a minimum of 5 boxes at a certain price point that you buy and you bring, so everybody in the corner while they're pulling something can come out. I don't know. We can have some fun with
this
that.
This breaking thing is blowing up. I know there's businesses.
It's not going away.
I have friends that do this. They love it.
It is not going away. That's going to be around for a minute.
Back in the day, we used to do break dancing, bro. That used to be our thing. Vinny's good at that.
For people who sit there and they say, you know, this is BS, this is this, this is that, I'll tell you a basic story. My wife was not a believer. One day, I bought 2 Wayne Gretzky cards 7 years ago for $540,000. My wife says, what are you doing, babe? I said, babe, hang tight. 18 months later, I took those 2 cards, worked with Heritage Auctions, put it on the market. At 11:30 midnight, I wake my wife up and said, babe, you know those 2 cards I bought for $540? She says, yes. I just sold for $2.2 million. She says, what? It was a record at the time. Those $2.2 million cards that I sold today are worth over $10 million.
Wow.
What?
One of the cards I sold 6 months later sold for $3.5 million. Just so you know, this works. But it's having the right cards.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's having the right cards.
The Wayne Gretzky.
The Wayne Gretzky.
I remember when we ran into Wayne Gretzky. Dylan took a picture with him.
He
right?
did.
Vince
Yes,
Vaughn.
he did. I have Wayne Gretzky at our event 15 years ago. All right, let's go to the next story. Next story I want to get into is what happened with RFK when he went on CNN with Dana Bash. By the way, fiery interview. Well, RFK goes on, and if you can play the clip of the one that I sent you, if you know which one I'm talking about, if this is the one that I sent you, perfect. Because there's a few different segments in it on what they talked about. So RFK goes on, Dana Bash, CNN, and she's talking about vaccines. Why? Because we know what just happened with Fauci. Mm-hmm. It was a 21-minute segment. This is one of the sections of what happened between the sit-down of the two. Go for it.
It's also factually true that the COVID vaccine worked. The COVID vaccine prevented deaths. There is data upon data upon data. Let's talk about the measles, please, because this is something that is happening as we speak. The cases in the U.S.
vaccine protected children.
I think that what I have talked to scientists and doctors about.
Scientists. Can you show me one study?
Yes, I can.
That shows that
I can.
Children were protected by the COVID vaccine.
I can tell you that there
vaccine did more good than harm to children. Can you show me one study that shows that?
I can tell you that when it comes to the vaccine, there have been studies that show that because of vaccine disinformation, there could have been 100 to 200,000 lives in the U.S. saved. But because people didn't get the vaccine,
she can't show the study.
I'm not saying that it entirely.
You are saying nonsense. You are saying something that you cannot show me.
Okay.
A single study.
I am not saying nonsense.
You are talking what somebody told you.
Excuse me.
And you cite me the study. What study?
No, what studies are you talking about? You're talking about studies that actually don't exist. I want to talk about.
Cite me.
She can't cite the study.
No, of course.
And by the way, there's another clip where he says, you're just a parrot. You're just repeat. Is this it? That's the your parrot one? That you're just a parrot.
Do you see your job as ending vaccine hesitancy, or do you see your job as telling the truth to the American people?
I see my job as telling the truth, and the truth is that there is study after study after study. It's one of the most studied things out there in science,
and it is
parrot.
You're repeating like a parrot.
So
I've actually read the science.
You
and I come back here and debate the science.
I love it.
I'm
Challenger.
not debating this with you.
Of course you won't.
No, because I'm not
all
debating
you know how to
false-
do is repeat things that people told you and say, trust the experts. That's what you did during COVID. Now we know that Anthony Fauci, who was the expert, was lying about everything, about masks, about social distancing, about natural immunity, about the transmission from the vaccine.
Now she's quiet.
About the source of COVID. He was lying, and you were punishing people for not trusting the experts. And now you're rolling out the experts again to talk about something that you have no personal knowledge of.
Okay, well, guess what? That is my job, to talk to people.
Your job is to
Am I
tell the
allowed
truth
to talk?
to the American
yes,
public.
yes. And my job
And
is
to
to
be-
get as
and
much
to-
information as I
and
can.
to maintain
And what we were doing,
a posture
what we were
of
doing,
skepticism
what we were
toward government
doing
authority.
in COVID, and still.
Wait for this one.
With
If
regard
this
to
is
these
it.
vaccines, is getting the best information, the best science that we can, and putting it out there. And sir, what you are doing is causing
getting the best
information
science
to
from
be out there
somebody
that
who's
is
lying
not
to you.
accurate.
Who was lying to
The
you?
National Academy of Sciences, which you just cited in November, said we support the statement that vaccines do not cause autism. This is the National Academy of Sciences that you just talked about.
Look at the National
Pause it right there. By the way,
Academy
he
of
says,
Science.
he calls out CNN. He says, of course you won, because you guys' job was to recite and promote. He says to CNN, that we never did that. We never did that. And then there's hits. Can you play the clip of how CNN made tens of millions of people feel like who didn't take the vaccine? I just texted you the clip. When you watch this clip, you're like, they forgot. It's almost like they forgot. Kudos to Stephen A. to come out and apologize to Kyrie Irving. I hope the NBA follows up and does the same as well as some of the NFL. If you have the clip I just texted you to show to them.
Of taking vaccines back?
Oh, Vinny, the amount of highlights of what CNN made people feel like.
From Brian Stelter to all of them?
If you can just watch this one here, go for it. Every day we have to watch this.
And I love the corona.
President Trump wrote on Twitter, don't be afraid of COVID. Don't let it dominate your life. Don't let it dominate your life?
In terms of responding to a comment like that, it's gross.
It's okay to be afraid of COVID, and it's okay that it's dominating your life.
Everyone should be afraid of COVID.
You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free.
Oh, God.
I can't come in, Mom. It's because of this flu thing.
We won't be free of this pandemic until we listen to the acknowledged truth. Listen to the scientists.
Science is truth. You know, science is truth.
What is the impact to public health when people are openly questioning the science?
Now is the time to do what you're told.
By not hearing the truth, by not listening to the scientists, they are prolonging how bad the economy will be.
When I see somebody out in the world who's not wearing a mask, I instantly think you are a threat, or you are selfish, or you are a COVID denier, and you definitely haven't been vaccinated.
Either wear a mask or get the fuck out.
What does this have? Are you vaccinated?
I am triple vaccinated.
So why are you wearing the mask?
Seek out the scientists and listen to their advice.
And I remember one time we're on a
Listen
flight,
to the science.
and Senna couldn't keep the mask on. She kept taking the mask off, and the flight attendant came to me screaming in my face for the third time, Vinny, I'm looking at this person like, this is how old was she at the time? 4 or 5 years old. I'm like, this is a 4 or 5-year-old kid. Leave her alone. I don't know what to do. If she doesn't keep the mask on, we're going to ask you and your family to get off the plane. And she just screaming. It's like, I don't want to put the mask on a flight. These are the types of things we experience. And now she is sitting across from RFK calling him out. How do you react to this clip here?
Well, first of all, it drives me crazy. And the one that we were just showing with that little kid crying and screaming. And here's my thing. They're not that dumb. They knew, okay? They knew. And you know what one of the main things is? She's on CNN. Who do you think plays ads on CNN? Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, AstraZeneca. Like, she has to do it, Pat. She has to stick to her guns. And it drives me crazy that you're just like the WNBA, which I think we're going to get to. You're a failing network. People don't believe you. They don't trust you anymore, okay? People go on X to get their news now instead of you, the most trusted name in news. Even MSNBC had to change their name to MS Now. Like, we're going to forget about all the crap that you lied to us about. And Pat, and this is the thing, the same with Cuomo. Remember, I said it last week, calling the unvaccinated, me, the purebloods, Okay, the purebloods, worse than terrorists, okay? And this is my whole thing with this whole Fauci COVID debacle. There's only two ways, okay, that you could think about this. All these Fauci worshiping sheep. Either you were in on it, meaning you were in on the lies because you know he lied, okay, period, plain and simple, or you were a useful idiot, all of you. From CNN all the way down. And I think it's the latter, Pat. And think about it. For all the people out there, they're like, he was science. Why would you go to a president and beg to go back to 2014? People are like, well, Trump appointed. No. He was in Trump. That's the deep state, the people that were surrounded Trump in the first term. Why would you ask to go back to 2014? And I think we're going to get to the Bill Gates story after this, but I'll give it to Tom and the Pat. It drives me crazy because Americans, we should be more upset. Like furious. If you go on the street and protest for gays or whatever the hell you're going through for ICE, where are you at when your family's been sick or your grandfather died and you couldn't be there? That's what drives me crazy. I'm the lucky one, Pat. I don't know what I would do. I wouldn't know what I would do, Vincent Oshana, if I was duped into doing it and I got the jab. And you know me with my heart. I got sick or myocarditis or somebody or one of my kids, they told me to do it. My kid couldn't go to school and I jabbed my kid and now they're sick. I don't know what I would do. I don't know what I would do. I would lose my mind. And then you see a video of Fauci. Fauci's out in the street. He's very out there. He's very touchable. He looked like he saw a ghost and somebody's like, hey, how do you feel about pleading the fifth and lying? Fauci was talking to a cop because he still has security. They're watching him when he lives in Washington.
Tom,
unbelievable.
How do you react to this?
I know what I believe. I completely understand what CNN is doing right now. What they are right now, they are covering. They are duck and covering. I'll tell you why. The Fauci testimony is about to open the door to lawsuits because CNN and other media, but let's just talk about CNN, they crossed the line from reporting to advocacy.
Yes.
They were
pushing it.
They were pushing and they were advocates. They weren't merely reporting. They crossed over into advocacy. And in that advocacy, there are lawsuits coming based on what Fauci has said, because the veil has been torn and the truth is back there, where people are going to come back. You came into advocacy. You knew what was going on. And they're trying, what is she doing? She's trying to interview RFK and to bring up some studies to show that COVID vaccines work. That was her opening salvo. The COVID vaccines worked. So they're going to cling to, these studies show it worked. We were saying they worked. We were right. We didn't mislead you. Why are they doing that now? Why would CNN be saying this story right now rather than attacking Trump? Why?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you who's saying it. Dana Bash, the wife of Jeremy Bash, whose signature is one of the 51 intelligence officials that was on the letter talking about the Hunter Biden laptop.
Weird. Isn't that weird?
So guess what?
Oh.
How was your day at work? I signed a letter, I'm not really sure about the laptop shit, but I just signed a letter anyway. What did you do? Well, I'm really not sure about COVID, but I just did a segment tonight. Well, what do you want for dinner, honey? So, I mean, how do the conversations go at that house? I really don't know. And I'm projecting a little bit, but how do you come home and look at each other and really, is there a quiet moment in the Bash household where they sit back and they say, wow, where were we and what were we thinking? If not, the denial must be so great that it's just impossible.
Tom, that's amazing what you just said right there. So her husband, Jeremy Bash, is 1 to 51?
Yep.
Yeah.
Can you pull up her husband?
Well, let me just correct the record here. She was married to Jeremy Bash. Then she was married to John King, CNN anchor. John King. Now she's remarried to a Hollywood guy. She's been married. She's as CNN liberal institutional as it gets.
When did they get divorced? I thought they were married in 2020 when he signed the doc.
They were married.
Yes.
Just correct. They were married. I think they got divorced like over a decade ago, and then she married.
Yeah.
John
They
King.
were married 20. They got divorced 20 years ago. So they weren't together when that happened. So she's with completely somebody else today.
She's been married, I think, 3 times. I've been done. I know Dana Bash.
I wonder why.
She was married, by the way, and Tom is right. I'm not correcting Tom. I'm just correcting the timeline here. This is as beloved as a CNN anchor as it gets. Dana Bash.
For who, though? For
CNN.
Democrat. Yeah, of course.
For CNN.
Yeah.
I'm not even saying.
Yeah.
But what Tom is basically highlighting is that her whole life has been institutionalized by the Democratic Party. Her husband, Jeremy Bash, if you're like, oh, who is this guy? This is the former, I think, managing director or chief of staff of the CIA and the Department of Defense under Leon Panetta, under Obama.
Very trustworthy.
Boom. Then you have John King, CNN anchor, who's one of the more credible guys. And then now she's married to a Hollywood guy. But that's not even my point with her. She's as institutionalized as it gets with CNN. But let me get kind of to my point. Who's she arguing with here, Dana Bash? She's arguing with RFK. I can't understate how much they appear to hate RFK. Why? This is the darling of the Democratic Party. You're a Kennedy. Your uncle was JFK. Ask not what you can do for your country, okay? His father was Bobby Kennedy, both assassinated, both the greatest Democrats of all time. And what does he do? In the middle of the 2024 election, he crosses the picket line and teams up with Trump. And he says, by the way, everything you guys are doing with COVID and vaccines, I'm calling BS here, guys. And we've interviewed Bobby a few times, solid guy. And he's basically saying, guys, I'm calling you out to your face. And she goes, well, you're wrong. He goes, yeah, show me the money. Because your words mean nothing at me. Your words are hollow. Anthony Fauci's diary, your words are hollow. Show me the proof. At this point, we all know that it's probably came from the lab.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jon Stewart. So they despise him because he knows what's going on behind over there. And he's basically saying you're lying.
And
that's why they're so
bracing
upset.
for impact.
And that's why they're so upset.
And
you brought up a good point. She's no longer, they maybe at one point was a journalist who told the truth. Now she's an activist who's basically going with the narrative and has their talking points and tried. This is the best part. She tried to get Bobby Kennedy with a gotcha. And he goes, oh yeah, you think you're gonna get me, buddy? I'm gonna get you. And the point about the children, here's what I'll say. And Pat, you guys have kids during COVID. One thing is undeniable. Whether the vaccine worked or not worked or how it helped, it didn't help kids. No kids needed to be vaccinated. What kids needed to be doing was running outside and playing with their friends. And there's a lot of kids
in the sun.
In the sun. There's a lot of kids that lost years of their life, years of their education, years of friendship, and are paying the price now because of dumb decisions. But that's what I'm.
It's showing up in test scores. You're absolutely right.
But isn't it crazy though that Adam, like what I said, what should piss people off is it was a coordinated effort with the government, with the media, they made Americans turn on each other, all on purpose. By the way, none of this was by accident. There is no way somebody could tell me that this virus came from a lab in a country that we're basically adversaries, we're enemies with, and it just leaked. And to this day, I just saw another article today that they were going, yeah, like high professionals, Adam, like scientists and doctors. Yeah, maybe it might be the lab leak. Are we still playing the game? We're never going to hold anybody accountable. And China's laughing their asses off.
I think lawsuits are coming.
I hope to God. Well, David Morenz was indicted a while ago.
I think lawsuits are coming. I think what Tom said is right. I think lawsuits are coming. They decided to put the heavyweight against RFK to book that. They thought about who they would want RFK because CNN didn't want to be the one that didn't have RFK on right after Fauci. This was their way of saying, yeah, we did. We gave RFK 21 minutes. And they decided who they were going to give that segment to, and they gave it to her, who is probably their heavyweight. And they said she's going to be able to hang against him. And you better believe they probably have a history none of us know about. And what I mean by history is like they both know who's hooked up with who, like, you know, that kind of history.
Of course.
Because they're in the same circle. Bobby was a friend of theirs. Bobby was like their hero because he, you know.
And his wife, Cheryl Hines, was
exactly
one of them.
Yeah. So anyways, you know, when you're looking at this, you know, on what's happening here, this is purely an insurance policy. This sit down as an insurance policy because lawsuits are coming. You're going to see there's 50 states. Of the 50 states, how many of them are red states? Of the red states, think about how many people are going to come after him. You saw Huthmeyer, what he's doing right now in Florida. This is not going away anytime soon. They're going to have to explain themselves for many. Why do you think Stephen Colbert is all of a sudden gone? You don't remember him dressing up like a vaccine and dancing and doing all this stuff more. You don't remember Jon Stewart going out there, and clowning him on his own show.
He was so uncomfortable,
too. Of course. Like everybody right now sitting there saying, if Fox got a $780 million settlement for Dominion, this is what Dominion was to Fox, is to CNN, ABC, NBC, and the rest. It's coming.
I hope to God.
Can I give a silver lining? Yeah. You know, we talk a lot about in the show about we need some accountability. What we may end up seeing is some serious accountability, I think is what you're saying, with these lawsuits and people paying the price for lying. Fauci, how many people do you think are reasonable people, reasonable Democrats, who maybe even bought the cover of Fauci in Vanity Fair magazine or InStyle magazine that are saying, you're pleading the fifth 100+ times.
I think a third.
I think it's a lot of people being like, I don't like this. It's a horrible look. And I think Fauci, I said this last time, the name Fauci, what we thought would be a hero is going to basically be a zero. And any Fauci is probably going to have to end up changing their name because the name Fauci has basically just lost every sort of credibility that they have.
We talked about that last time. So, okay. All right. So let's go into the next story. Next story I want to get into is kind of weird. Kind of weird. You know, because when you think about a misogynist, who do you think about? Who has mainstream media made us believe is the biggest misogynist out there?
Andrew Tate. There he goes.
Andrew Tate. You know, what else would you call him? Chauvinistic, misogynistic.
There's other words they use, but
give me the words. Give me the appropriate words that they've categorized them as. You know, Andrew Tate.
Called them a grapist.
Okay, they've called them all these other words.
Child predator.
But if we were to say who defends more men than Andrew Tate, I would tell you no institution defends men and protects them more than the WNBA. No institution. The WNBA is more misogynistic and is more chauvinistic than Andrew Tate.
Mm-hmm.
You got it. I said it. You know why? Because the WNBA, two coaches, one of them being Caitlin Clark's coach, the other one being a coach that they just went up against, they were having a game, and at this game, she decides to wear a shirt at the game playing against Sophie Cunningham. After Sophie made the comments about transgender, she wears the shirt, if you can show it on the sidelines, what the shirt says. You know, trans kids, this is it right here. That's the coach. Trans kids belong. They had a conversation together. They walked up to each other. They had the talk. And by the way, just so you know, we did not know this. I Googled to see which side Cheryl Reeve is on. She's actually a lesbian. Nothing wrong with that. But they're having a conversation here to the left. That's Sophie and her talking. Then the post-game interview, she's being interviewed, the coach, and the question is asked. And here's what the coach had to say of the opposing team. If you can go to what the coach had to say of the opposing team in the post-game interview. There's a post-game interview that they're doing with the coach. This is her coach. There's a different one. It's the other coach of the team that they played up against. Where they said, so did you guys have a conversation together? We did.
That's it.
What was the conversation about? Go for it. I'm not going to tell you. Go ahead.
Before the game, you had a conversation with Sophie Cunningham.
I did.
If you want to share what you talked about, feel free. But more of my question is just how important is it to have those like in-person conversations with people that
I think it's
have
great.
different views?
I think it's great. You know, I think both of us understand that we have platforms. And, you know, we both talked about, you know, wanting to, more than anything, educate. And there are some things that, you know, we have in common and maybe some things you differ on, just like any issues. And I think it's how you handle things. And so...
You can pause it right there. I want you to now watch what Caitlin Clark's coach had to say when she was questioned. This is Caitlin Clark's coach. Okay, go for it.
What is your stance on men or athletes who test as biological male participating in women's sports? What's your personal stance?
Watch your answer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I would say that I'm educated enough from a scientific standpoint. I don't ever believe that exclusion is an answer. I just don't.
Oh my.
No, but wait a minute. You got to keep playing it. Is this the only clip we have? Oh, okay.
I think that's it.
Because she says, I used to play with men when I was a kid. I always played with men when I was a kid. And she answers the question like, you know, I'm not a scientist. I'm not this. I'm not that. And then the game's being played yesterday. Sophie Cunningham gets hit in the face by an elbow that pretty much almost like massive foul. They called the foul on her. I don't even know if we can even play this clip or not. If you know, you can see it. But right there, elbowed in the face. Look at that. Right, do it again.
Whose
on the
fault
elbow.
is that?
Elbow in the face like that. And guess who got the foul? She got the foul, not the girl that went through this. So, Vinny, again, every time you think common sense is making a comeback, they do something like this. How do you react to this story?
And I know Adam's been very passionate about it. And every time Adam was like, you know, I was kind of like in my head, like, give him a chance, give him a chance. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I think it's time to get rid of the WNBA, period, full stop, and I'm dead serious. Okay, I'm sick and tired of them using this. No, Adam, I'm dead serious. Like, they're hemorrhaging money every single year. Every year, how much money they're losing? To $40 million, and they keep it afloat. And I'm sick and tired of this nonsense, this trans nonsense that keeps coming up. Right when you think it's over, it keeps coming back up like resurfacing like a damn submarine. And in regard to her shirt, trans kids belong. Belong where? in the opposite sex bathroom, you know, or in a clinic getting injected with puberty blockers or their breasts getting taken off. You know where trans kids belong? In therapy, okay? They belong in therapy to find out what happened, okay? How did you get to this mindset? Who talked to you? Were you on TikTok, okay? Were you talking to, who was influencing you to try to make you feel the way that you do, okay? That's what we need when it comes to these trans kids, and they belong, okay? The last thing we need is encouragement from this LGBT community who don't have any kids of their own, so they need your kids. They recruit your kids because that's how they make their community get bigger, Pat. I'm sick and tired of this freaking nonsense. And for your own coach to sit there and go, yeah, I don't have I'm not a biology major, so I don't know. It's very simple. Penis, NBA, vagina, WNBA. What is this game, Pat? It's to me, it boggles my mind that society, we're still doing this with all the problems that we have in our society. We have to still play this trans kids belong. And listen, I pray for those people. I pray for those people that are confused. My heart goes out to them. I literally pray all the time. Like, let them figure it out. Talk to somebody that's going to do it instead of them patting you on the back and saying, you know what? Take your breast off or chop your penis off. And the majority of those people have freaking depression and they wind up killing themselves. Or if not, they wind up shooting up places and they call us transphobic. Give me a freaking break. Shut down the WNBA. Where's the money coming from? Name me a company that loses $40 million a year and people still put up with this. And mind you, Caitlin Collins is your superstar.
Caitlin Clark,
Caitlin Collins, whatever, potato. That's how much, Adam.
Well, it's technically, if you can't do potato in the NBA, then
exactly.
it's
But Adam, think about
this. And she got you new TV and sponsorship deals, and that money is being used to pay the players, and now you don't need her.
And great point, Tom. Are you ready for this, Adam? They hate her because she's white. She's the nastiest player in the league, and everybody, the coaches, the refs, the players, all hate on her because she's a white star, and she had to bend the knee too. I'm done with the WNBA, bro. I'm tired of it. Is that bad? I'm furious. No, am I wrong?
So where are you at with this?
I'm just, Vinny, I mean this sincerely. Thank you for coming over.
Finally, you got me.
Thank you. Just say out
FYI, just so you know, that's not happening. The first team in WNBA just got $1 billion valuation. Their revenue's up to $500 million. They're not profitable yet, so it's not like they're making money now. But Vinny, there is no way this thing's going away because the simple fact that we're talking about it right now means it's relevant. Sophie Cunningham is a superstar, famous superstar. I saw highlights the other day of the All-Star game. I don't know if you saw the WNBA All-Star.
I haven't watched one layup.
No, this one you have to watch.
Is it bad?
Because the WNBA All-Star highlights, Vinny, I don't even know if we can
show
this. I don't even know if we can.
We can't.
When you've never seen a layup like this off the backboard. They almost broke the backboard at the All-Star game. These are supposed to be the best players. The amount of air balls being shot is embarrassing. But when you have a daughter, and if one day when you have kids, here's what happens. You know who controls your kid's passion?
You do.
No, you don't. They do.
Oh, they control the passion.
They
control you taking them to the game or not.
Are you kidding? I've taken Tico to every single sporting event in the world.
That's not his thing.
He went to Ohtani's game, sitting next to Ohtani's mom. Ohtani hits 3 home runs, 3 stolen bases, becomes the first 50 to 50. He comes home, it's 11:30 at night. I'm asking him, how was today? He says, apparently this Ohtani kid did something special today. And his mom was sitting next to me. She was so excited. I said, how cool was the game? Whatever, Dad.
He doesn't care.
So guess what?
He likes UFC, though.
Yeah, he loves UFC. So if your kid, your daughter, all of a sudden comes to you, Adam, and she says, you play basketball. The funniest shit's going to be if this guy's a daughter and she plays basketball and her hero is Caitlin Clark and she wants to get into the WNBA. What are you going to tell her? You say there's no chance. Life doesn't work that way. Life doesn't work that when they play sports and they get into it. So the part is there is a need for it because I would like to simply root for somebody. I would like to see somebody light it up like Caitlin. What they're making you do is hate the damn sport. And both of those coaches, both Caitlin Clark's coach
and the Minnesota
and Cheryl Reeve's coach, they're both lesbians, part of the LGBTQ community. Their decision, it is what it is. But for you to sit there and say trans kids belong, so you're saying men should compete against women, you protect men more than some of the biggest misogynists you hate. Nobody protects men more than the WNBA right now. It's so interesting what you guys are doing. It's comical to me.
Yeah.
It's funny to me. Adam.
I'm with you. At this point, it's just become a joke. Just for the record, what does the WNBA stand for?
Women's National Basketball Association.
NBA, gotcha. When LeBron was making his decision, ended up going to the 76ers, I wish that LeBrina James would have just showed up and said, this next season, I'm playing for the Indiana Fever, and we would have.
What do you think he would average?
Right?
What do you think he would average?
He scored 100. He scored 100 points a game. We all know that.
In a game, in a hat, bro.
Whatever he wanted
to
do, he could do.
Put on a skirt and just go out there and dunk on these.
We need if you're allowing exactly if you're allowing men to pretend to be women and play in sport, I have an idea. Let it happen. Let it happen.
They won't.
Get a retired, get Ron Artest out there. Get Dwight Howard out there. Get somebody who's been on the PBD podcast. Get Shaq out there, 50 years old, 300 pounds, still dunking on these girls out there. Let's see it happen. Okay? Shawnee O'Neal shows up there. This is what's going to happen. Because, they say everyone has a hill they're willing to die on. We've talked about this. We all have our hills. The WNBA has basically said, this is the hill we're willing to die on because the L, the G, the B has been grouped in with that T, and they need to basically protect that T. And in the NBA, because I'm the local NBA guru over here, we know. Yeah. They say, you live by you say you live by the 3 and you die by the 3, right? So the women of the NBA are going to die on this hill if it's the last thing they do. And they're not double dribbling. They're doubling down on this nonsense. And at this point, I'm not angry. I'm not upset. I'm sitting there eating my popcorn just being like, you have this generational talent, Caitlin Clark, and you're running her out of the league. And you have this beautiful person, Sophie Cunningham, who's basically saying, listen, I'm just a normal person. I'm not political. I just don't want dudes in the locker room with me. And they elbow her in the face and they go, that's a foul on you. Yeah, shut your mouth.
Oh, God.
So I don't believe they're doubling down, Adam. But here's why. You're right, but I disagree on this angle. There's never been DEI that's been a special program brought into the WNBA. Never has. It was the culture from day one. Their culture was this. Well, I
don't mean this disrespectful. They're all lesbians. A lot of them are lesbians.
Point is, DEI was brought into certain companies and they faked it and they put up programs. We have a DEI program. Mm-hmm. They had DEI DNA. This was it since the beginning. And what you are seeing is a culture clash with Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham and organ rejection. The organism, the WNBA, is rejecting what's coming in from the outside from the very people that got them the bigger TV deal, that got them the bigger sponsorship deals. But now those deals are inked and they don't need them, and they are attempting to reject it.
Can I show you guys something, Tom?
Can I make one other point?
Yeah, go for it.
The Olympics, we can talk about Brittany Griner for a second, because there's been...
She just got divorced, guys, by the way. Sorry, I know. Brittany Griner, that's tough news.
From the lady that protected her, tried to get her out of Russia.
Right,
go ahead,
exactly right.
These ladies ain't loyal.
The Olympics goes to great lengths to do hormone testing and physical examinations to keep men out of women's sports. And we can see the examples of they do that. The WNBA, has a couple men that are in the league and they're covered. And I would like, just what your ties are joking about, if I owned a team in WNBA, I'd bring back 79-year-old Bill Laimbeer. He would show up in a sports...
I love Bill Laimbeer.
He would show up in a sports bra
put his hands
and lipstick.
Up, right, Lou?
And say, today I identify, because the WNBA would only...
That may be possible.
If you identify.
Because that may be possible. You know why? This is the Golden State coach. Watch what she said. So, Tom, that day may be coming. So can you get to the point where she agrees to it?
No,
questions asked. I want you to watch this. Go ahead.
Oh, my God.
I think, thank you for that question. I think just in terms of how I'm seeing it is, if I could answer, it's like for me, sports is about belonging.
Oh my God.
Sports is about
inclusivity. It's about allowing everyone to be their authentic self. I'm big on that just because I have been criticized for my height, for my ethnicity. I've been in those you shouldn't belong here many times. And for me, I don't want that space, especially Golden State, to ever feel like that. So I'm all about women, little girls deserving to play and that includes trans women. I'm all about inclusivity.
Perfect.
Adam, what is Adam? Listen to me. Adam Silver, okay? What are you?
They can't. They're too far in.
Adam, I don't care. Guys, when I tell you, I understand, Pat, the money, the billion, they're still losing money. They're doomed. Your star is the only reason people are watching is because of her. And guess what? Everybody's treating her like trash. Everybody. They follow her. They don't call fouls. Everybody talks crap about her. They hate her. And then Sophie Cunningham's sticking up for her, and they're going after her too. What are we talking about? Guys. They're going to fail.
Can I give you guys a stat?
We're going to need to
say. So check this out.
Oh, my God.
There is 15 WNBA coaches, okay? Of the 15 WNBA coaches,
12?
5 of them are lesbians, publicly, that you know about it. 5 of them are lesbians. And even one of them, male coach, Kurt Miller, if you can pull it up, type in Kurt Miller, WNBA. Kurt Miller is with a C. Kurt Miller, WNBA, who's a coach. He's gay, openly gay. So 6 out of 15 coaches are part of the LGBTQ community that they're public about it. Yeah. Now, the other 9, we don't know. Whether they keep it like that. Nakasi, the coach right there, that person is not listed as being a lesbian or not. So, they have to protect. This is their religion to protect. But I think the one organization that is responsible for this continuing on is the WNBA, and the NBA, who owns the WNBA, needs to come out and put an end to this and just make a blanket law. Men cannot compete in WNBA. So moving forward, coaches just have to say what? Look, it's not my rule. It's the WNBA rules. Men cannot compete. Can we move on with this topic? Because it's becoming a distraction. This is a leadership problem in the organization. NBA needs to come and put the end to this. Why? Because if you don't, a guy like Clay Travis from the Outkick is going to say, let a man compete in the WNBA.
Yes.
Let me get a contract.
That's what we need to say.
Let me go out there and
identify.
I'm shocked it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, somebody will do it.
To me, the problem is this starts with leadership at the top, and they haven't done it. I put that on them. Let me get to the next story. Next story I want to get into is what's going on with Ukraine and Russia. Tom, I'm going to come to you with this one, and I don't want to be on this thing for too long.
I don't need to talk about it.
Let me tell you. This is the weirdest thing that's going on with Ukraine and Russia. I'm going to show you guys a couple clips as we get into it. Do you know, according to Reuters, Ukraine reported that they hit 196 to 201 Russian vessels with their drones just in 3 weeks in July.
It's a lot.
So these are oil tankers. These are big ships that they control the remote. And here's what it looks like. I just want you to watch it. You're in Ukraine. Russia's the big, scary monster that's got nuclear weapons and they can kill anybody. Well, they have a hard time killing Ukraine. So watch this right here. Go for it. Look at this here. Just press play. Okay? These are moments before a drone hits a Russian ship. Watch. Boom. That's one. Here's another one for you. And look at the dates right there. This is July 18th. Another one. Guy controls it all the way from Ukraine. And by the way, they got a general that his general, you know what division he runs? He runs the drone division.
Jeez.
A Ukrainian general that all he runs is the drone division. And all they do is they fly in. There's another clip that shows where drones are parked on a road waiting to get orders of where to go hit. And a Russian drone is recording that Ukrainian drones are sitting on a bridge or sitting on a road. You can keep playing these clips, by the way. Just waiting for someone to go out there and give them destination of where to go to. And they're just waiting for target.
And notice how it's hitting the engine.
And by the way, can you go type in Ukraine drone target? Just go on YouTube if you can. Type in Ukraine drone footage, and then do me a favor and just go for the month of, go to view, solve for popularity. Go back to where you were at. That was good. Go to popularity all the way to the right, and then go to filter again. And go to filter again and go to the last month. It's the third category. Press month. Now watch this, Vinny. Okay? You'll see these guys go a little bit lower so you get to the shorts. You'll see these guys that are hitting so many different locations recently. It's not on the short side. It's okay. We'll show it afterwards. I should have sent you the clip. So you'll see these guys doing this. Now here's the part. Back in the day, Russia decides to build a bridge between Russia and Crimea. They build this bridge. Massive bridge that they build to get through. Do you know who blows up the bridge? Who do you think blows up the bridge? So they cannot drive tankers through. No, Ukraine blows up the bridge. So people can go through, and they eventually ended up fixing it. If you see the bridge that they blew up, you type in the Crimea bridge, blew up. They blew up the bridge. These guys are going back and forth. Putin is now announcing that they're going to be attacking in a major way. What that looks like, who knows? Zelensky now has done the impossible. Let me tell you what Zelensky's done. Is that the bridge? Yes, that's the bridge, right? You just had to go back, click on that top one. That was the bridge that Russia built. Vinny, look at this. This is the bridge that they built. Now look what happened to it. So now you cannot go through. This is when he was bragging about the bridge that they had built and how magical it was and how this was their strategy of how they're going to go get Crimea. Nope. Now you can't do that because they blew up. So to tell you the impossible thing that Zelensky done, Zelensky went from being loved by Democrats, hated by Republicans. The Democrats would wear the Ukraine pin versus the other one. To
Nancy
now,
Pelosi draped the Ukraine flag in our Congress.
To now, the likes of Laura Loomer are saying, I was wrong about Zelensky. Because now Zelensky, they're realizing Putin was giving intel to Iran of where military bases were at. So Zelensky, by being this patient, all of a sudden is slowly becoming an ally because they're realizing Russia was helping Iran. So it is a very, very weird thing that's going on right now, the last 30, 60, 90 days with Ukraine. Tom, your thoughts right here, because I know there's some negotiations that's going on as well. And Trump was talking about the license in a reversal. Trump says he hasn't agreed to grant Ukraine licenses to produce Patriot missiles. There was all these talks that's going back and forth. Where are you at now with Ukraine and Russia, Tom?
So obviously Zelensky's looking for some walking around money, and he needs to get the Bentley detailed. So what does he do? He starts playing nice. And I'm being a little ridiculous with that, but what's really happening here is Zelensky didn't want to lose the war. Zelensky, didn't want to give up land and do a peace treaty. And now Russia has got economic and supply line issues going on with Iran. And Zelensky's asking now, can you give me a license to produce Patriot missiles? And so why do you need a license to produce Patriot missiles? Because I want to shoot shit down coming out of Russia, And that's what's going on. And apparently there's this negotiation going on behind the scenes. And, ABC News was like, in a reversal. No, it's not a reversal. It's Trump's classic negotiation. We're talking about it, but I don't think that's done yet. I don't think we're done yet. I think there's things need to happen. I'm not imitating Trump. I'm just saying, how he never, until it's over. And he will point out, and that's what's going on. But Zelensky wants this license, and because if he gets Patriot missiles in there, now he can preempt Russia. I think what's also going on is we don't want the Patriot missile system is a very effective system. There are two things that in defense that are leading the world. One is the Iron Dome, the integrated system built by Israel, and the other is the Patriot missile system. Those two things have been very effective against incoming attacks. And guess what? Zelensky wants it. And Zelensky, they've caught up. And the drones are not expensive to build. Look up and find out how much a F-35 fighter costs and how much let's do that. How much is an F-35 fighter? Fast. And then how much does a Ukrainian drone cost?
Ukrainian drone costs $1,000, Tom.
Yeah, the ones that are hitting the ships are $1,000.
Those may be a little bit higher, but they made 500,000 drones at $1,000.
Okay, $82 million for an F-35A.
No, Tom, look at that. Their cost to make the drones are $400 to $500, and the better ones are $1,000.
That's exactly. So now
Are you understanding? Are you seeing this, Vinny? They're building $1,000 drone that's hitting $80 million equipment. And you know how much? Thank you so much. You know how much it's going to take to fix that?
Oh, forget
and how long
money?
it sits. So imagine you just shot it down. Not even shot it down. You stopped it. Mechanics got to come and fix it. The mechanic's not going to get the parts for a minute. So imagine that lag time. Look at what's going on with war today.
And supposedly the Russians are at 60% of our costs per plane on their high-end MiGs. So that what I was getting to, if that's 80, 6 times 8 is 48. So they're probably at 50 million a plane, and the Ukrainians are bothering them to death with $1,000 drones. So warfare has changed, and now look at they're interfering with the shipping. It used to be, you would go over there and say, okay, that does it. To prevent the Americans, we're going to hit Pearl Harbor. They can't repair their ships. They can't refuel their ships, and we're going to get their aircraft carriers. Well, they didn't get the aircraft carriers because they were out of Pearl Harbor. But that was the Japanese mentality about Pearl Harbor. Nowadays, wars change. Now you got and by the way, we're seeing it. We got missiles coming out of holes in mountains in Iran. What do you do about it? So it's very interesting that Zelensky suddenly is seen as, wow, maybe you aren't so bad after all, dude.
Adam.
Okay, I'm going to go somewhere with this, so just go with me.
Oh, here we go.
Just at the end of the day, there's good guys and bad guys. But imagine you're the bad guys and you're on your conference call and you have your weekly call and it's Xi in China and Putin in Russia, and you have Ayatollah in Iran and Venezuela Maduro and Syria al-Assad, and you have all these people on the call, and they go around the table just like we're doing here, and Putin goes, okay, this is what I have to say, Xi what I have to say, and they go, Ayatollah?
Xi, you're on mute. You're on mute, Xi.
Tom? And they go, Ayatollah, oh, he's gone. How about Nasrallah in Lebanon? Oh, he's gone. Yahya Sinwar, he was in the tunnel, he's gone. Let's get Maduro on the phone. Maduro's in jail somewhere. Bring up al-Assad. Let's see what he has to say. He's gone. They've eliminated all the bad guys. And now you got Putin sitting there wondering what's going on in his world. Here's the flip side. All the good guys, they're still there. Trump's in charge. Bibi's still in charge in Israel. Zelensky's still in charge in Ukraine. Modi's still in charge in India. I can't begin to overstate. We are kicking the bad guys' ass so bad, and they're still saying,
you think
we will win this war.
You think people that are in charge are the good guys?
I think the people in America that are in charge of the good guys.
Oh, in America, that's a different story. Yeah, worldwide. I mean, listen, that's good that some of the bad guys are gone, but there's still a lot of bad guys in charge.
Well, sometimes some good guys got to do some bad things because the only thing that the bad guys understand is force and strength.
I don't disagree there.
Do I think that Zelensky is a good dude? No. But do I think Putin is a bad dude?
I will tell you what Zelensky is. You know what Zelensky is? A long time ago when I was competing in the insurance, it's funny, I'm going to my last insurance conference I'm hosting with PHP. This is the last one I'm going to be at. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody this week. But when I first got into it and I became an insurance agent, the first thing I thought about was all I had to do was outwork everybody. I learned very quickly that's not enough. Then I learned I have to out-improve everybody. Read, study everything, history, products, everything. That's not enough. Then I said, you know what, these guys got better strategies than me, so I got to out-strategize them. So let me get that guy. This guy's doing this. I realize that's not enough. Sometimes, you know all it's about? It's outlasting. And the part with Zelensky is he simply outlasted what everybody thought he was going to do.
Yeah.
Impeachment, get out, criminal, corruption, money being paid off to his guys, the clothes, the dresses, the suits, the talking shit, the coming in, that you don't have the hands. The Trump saying you can't talk like that, Dan. You don't, dress. Sir, I'm not playing cards with you. All of these moments that he went through, he simply outlasted. And by the way, just so you know, I am not a fan of this guy whatsoever. I'm not a fan of Zelensky. But you got to give credit to an enemy or whoever it is that sometimes in the game, all you have to do is outlast until people realize what is really going on. You know what we did learn? Did you see yesterday what All Fox was talking about? That how much we've ran out of equipment for military. Did you see that?
Oh.
By the way, and this is Fox talking about
Yeah, it's bad.
Who do you think's watching Fox? Iran's watching Fox?
Of course.
Russia's watching Fox? China's watching Fox? On a Sunday where everybody is home with the family watching these Fox News people saying the challenge with the U.S. government right now, our military is weak today. Weapon stockpile shortages impacting military strategy in the Middle East. What? Did you ever think Fox News was going to write an article saying this? Yes, I would have expected from CNN. Yes, I would have expected from ABC or NBC. But for Fox to say, do you think Trump likes this? By the way, do you actually think Trump likes that article?
No.
Do you think Trump likes that headline? Why does he not like that headline? You're losing the leverage in negotiation.
Point of weakness.
Whether you have that or not, you never say that worldwide. You never say that. You never let your opponent know. So imagine if that's true.
Well,
is this the clip? Is this the clip? Can you play the clip of Iran was depleted key U.S. ammunition? There's a clip of it. I don't know if you have that or not.
We talked about it 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, but Tom, now
we all talked about it.
Now the problem is now Fox is talking about it. Now everyone's talking about it.
We shouldn't even know about it because if we're hearing it,
Pat, I agree with you on that. There's a flip side of the story, though.
What's that?
Where are their munitions? What does Iran have? What does Russia have? China's not funding this operation anymore. What does Venezuela have? All these people that we've used our weapon
No, bro.
They have no weapons.
No. Let me.
You're saying that they're better off?
No, Adam. Let me tell you. Look, I'm a big guy, okay, and I used to fight a lot in the Army, okay, and so I remember one time I go up. We're in boot camp. I'm in the best shape of my life. This 5'6" guy begs me to give him a chance to go up against me. He does. There's 100 people around watching this fight. Do you know what happens within 5-6 seconds?
Please don't tell me you let him beat you up, Pat.
Oh, he beat the living. Are you like?
Stop it!
No. I can't even. I'm on the floor. I'm
Pat,
tapping
don't admit
out.
this on camera.
Of
People
course,
are listening.
He knows who this
Pat,
guy
people
was.
are listening right now.
I asked him.
Was it our friend?
I said, "What happened? What was this?" He says, "I was a state champion." I said, "Where are you from?" He said, "Either Ohio or Florida, one of those states that produces." Yeah. And by the way, not one punch. It was purely wrestling. So I went in like this.
Yeah.
He's like free, and this is why jiu-jitsu nowadays is like the thing to do. I don't know if you saw the guy that went in the hospital, the nurse. Did you see what the nurse did to this other guy?
No.
So can you pull up the nurse that uses jiu-jitsu in the hospital and arrest the guy that was trying to hit him?
Oh, wow.
You have to see this clip. This is the point. Doesn't matter when it comes down to street. That's the one right there. Watch this clip. Watch what this guy does. Here's a nurse. Look how he's standing. You're gonna learn. The guy's
the male nurse.
Yeah, just watch him. Just watch him. He look what he does. Boom, he comes in trying to attack him. Okay, look what he does now, and look how he ends it.
Choke him out.
Okay, look how he ends it. He's not hurting the guy.
Yeah,
he's not even hitting him. Like he's not trying to use his power to destroy the guy. All he does is he got him. He gets him down.
He's done.
Okay,
Night.
but watch this.
That guy's insane.
He calls the cops to come with their handcuffs. He knows he has them in control right now. The guy's got the phone trying to record. Look at this.
Yeah.
He's done.
Put the phone down. Home.
Now the guy comes in. He's not even trying to choke him. He's just got him under control.
Good for him.
Cops come. They get him, and look how he gets up, as if he does this 5 times a day. Look how he comes in. Cops get him. Boom, and look how he gets up.
I'm going.
All
back
right,
to my
guys.
shit.
Let me get back to my shit. Okay.
Go get my coffee.
Regular day.
That's a gangster right there.
The mustache said it
check
all.
this out.
Yeah.
Zelensky and Ukraine is that. Iran is that. U.S. is the big bodybuilder that fights. Russia is the big heavyweight. We're learning today. This is why Palmer Luckey is solving one of our biggest leaks in America. Guys are making small drones, realizing what this Javid, what is that drone?
Javelin drone?
No, the drone that Iran makes. What do they call it? Shahid.
Yeah.
Drones that they make that Russia was buying.
Yeah.
Dude, the same thing Iran is doing with the drones, it's the same thing that Ukraine is doing. They learned, hey, the smaller guy have to learn how to fight. Instead of learning boxing, take jiu-jitsu. These drones have become the jiu-jitsu of warfare, and it's proven them right. So to me, going back to it, as big as we are, we're sitting here realizing we don't have the interceptors. We only have a certain amount of interceptors. These guys are using stuff that costs $1,000, $2,000 to make. We're building stuff that makes tens, billions of dollars because these Boeing and these big guys are getting the contracts. No, this is a very different game we're playing today.
Well,
very.
I understand the small guy.
And this is a guy that's pro-America, like, all the way. When we were fighting against smaller companies that were taking agents, one time a business took 1,500 insurance agents from us in a year. Maybe even you were there when that happened. An insurance company took 500 agents from one of my guys in 90 days. 500
What year
agents.
was that?
This is 2020, 2021.
Okay, of course I was there.
Yeah. So like this, they took the.
Wow.
It was the biggest catastrophe when this was going on. Then all of a sudden, you know how they started doing it? They infiltrated through Zoom meetings that we used to do. So we were doing Zoom meetings, and these guys would come in, and they would message people through the accounts on Zoom. And next thing you know, how did you lose the people? Well, I did a meeting with everybody on Zoom, and people got in there, and they started putting their numbers. My guys, out of curiosity, texted them. Next thing you know, I lost 500 agents. What? Then 1,500 agents in 12 months. How did that happen? So what are we going to do? Are we going to sit there and be like, well, we're the bigger guys? No. We realize they're using tools that you're not using, and sometimes they're going to beat you. So I hope America's adjusting. The part that I'm very excited about is guys like Palmer Luckey that are getting into this space.
I think he was just on Rogan, I want to say.
He was a few months ago. Find a massive problem, then go solve it. And he's solving a massive problem that America has long-term, and it's very real.
Thank God
very
he's on
real.
our side.
Thank God he's on our side. Yes. Let me wrap it up with the last story, and then we should finish up because we got calibration to do today. We got calibration to do all day today. All right. So Bill Gates has got a Q clearance from the DOE for many years. And people are asking, saying, how's that even possible? They got this clearance for 7 years. And why wouldn't the DOE say why. From 2014 to 2021, Department of Energy, and this is a Zero Hedge article that we're talking about. I think it's on page 4. If you guys haven't seen this, the story, addendum 14. So let me kind of go through this with you. Bill Gates held a top clearance queue for 7 years. DOE won't say why. Okay, so Microsoft, the details come from a DOE letter entered into a congressional record by Senator Rand Paul. The letter emerged as Fauci faced fierce Republican blowback during the Senate hearing last week, where the longtime face of COVID policy pleaded the fifth more than 111 times. And a Q clearance is the Energy Department's highest classification level, the kind normally reserved for people working on nuclear weapons designs, which, Vinny, you worked at a nuclear base at one point.
Yep.
National labs, critical energy infrastructure, and highly classified scientific research. Gates kept that clearance for 7 years, starting under President Obama and running through the entirety of COVID-19 pandemic. One explanation as to why Gates founded the TerraPower, an advanced nuclear reactor company that has spent years working alongside DOE national laboratories on one nuclear regulatory commission construction approval in March. A nuclear executive holding a nuclear clearance is not on its own a scandal, but the letter doesn't mention TerraPower or why he had it at all. What it does say is that the clearance was granted reciprocally on June 11th, meaning it originated at another federal agency and DOE simply honored it before terminating on December 6, 2021. The letter does not name the agency that vetted him in the first place. By the way, December 6, 2021 is right when I think Trump was December 6, 2021. What's the special thing about that? But anyways, Vinny, when you see this, how do you process this information?
Well, first of all, from somebody having the clearance that I had working around nuclear missile base, and mind you,
how big of a deal is Q?
Q is highly classified nuclear. Like, it's extremely unusual for a civilian computer nerd guy to have that clearance. The people that are in the Pentagon, walking around the Pentagon that nobody knows, these are rooms where you walk in, thumb clearance, eye scan. Q clearance is freaking extremely high. Okay, and in that document, I don't know if you know this too, that Rand Paul released, it showed that Anthony Fauci personally edited Bill Gates' manuscripts, and then Francis Collins was internally trying to explain the Gates Foundation's funding ties to the NIH, and DARPA briefed the Gates Foundation on military biological threat programs, including transmissible Lassa vaccine, the LASS vaccine. So think about it. For 20 years, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, they built a relationship with the federal government that went far beyond any normal public-private partnership. Okay, it was a relationship built on high access at the highest levels. And this is my opinion. I think, Tom, it was all coordinated. Look at everything, guys, that came out of COVID, okay? And all the purposes it served, especially with the globalist ideology that these people like Bill Gates has, okay? How long was Bill Gates saying that one of our biggest problems was, pandemic's coming, pandemic is coming? We could show clips of 10 of times where he's in front of a camera warning of us that it was coming, and then another 10 clips of him saying, our biggest problem is overpopulation. There's too many of us. So look what happens. COVID hits. It kills a bunch of people, almost 1 million people. He spent years talking about it, okay? Then his companies and all these people, all the connections, make billions of dollars on all the vaccines. Then COVID happens, and then one of the most trusted voices on the virus, he has no degree in science. He's a computer nerd. And then think about this timing, Tom. On October 18, 2019, a lot of people out there that know me are going to know this. 2 months before COVID hits, that was identified, the William and Melinda Gates Foundation partnered with the Johns Hopkins Center for Health and Security and the World Economic Forum to host Event 201, which was a tabletop exercise that simulated a global pandemic virus. Okay? You decide for yourself what that means, but when you put the timeline together of the level of access that he had, the DOJ is not saying anything, the influence and everything that followed, it's easy to understand why everybody has questions, why people like Fauci and all these guys have to be held accountable. Notice how, Tom, this is, besides the Epstein stuff, besides him allegedly in emails asking for freaking medication to slip in his wife's drink for allegedly giving her an STD because he was hooking up with Russian hookers, okay? This guy, was I the only one questioning? What does Bill Gates, why is he behind all this stuff? And why is he pushing depopulation and pushing vaccines and warning us about COVID? And then it hits. And then, incidentally, you're doing an exercise 2 months before it hits. Come on. At what point do we have to say, oh, my God, this is just coincidence, and say what it is, Tom? Honestly.
I think a lot of people have been talking about Bill Gates in this. I had read articles about terrible things that had happened to some young girls in India that had received treatments and suffered, health consequences of those, really bad stuff, nasty stuff. And that the Gates Foundation was basically out there controlling population and
weird.
Actually not controlling population, advocating for things that control population. So they were on the side of, wow, there's only so much water, there's only so much food, there's only so much technology to clean the water, transport the water, and to grow the food. We need to work on the supply side dynamic of Mother Earth. And so there's been a lot of that with the Gates Foundation going on for a long time. Mm-hmm. This stuff doesn't surprise anyone. How he surfaced among the COVID and everything that went with that, and then with Epstein, it just gets stickier and stickier to the point that Berkshire Hathaway, there may be a new CEO, but there is still an owner, and Warren Buffett has stepped back from the Gates Foundation, completely stepped back, even to say distance himself with Gates, even calling some of the stuff highly unfortunate and questionable.
Adam.
First, I'm hearing the story. I'm going to set this one out.
All right, sounds good. There you go. Well, listen, for those of you guys that got Q clearances, maybe reach out to Vinny.
Yeah, the only thing I have ever heard about was QAnon, so this is different.
What's going on with that? But
you
gang,
know that guy?
for those of you guys that wear the future looks bright proudly, we are, I think, 30 days away from launching our brand that we're working on behind closed doors, which I don't even want to reveal fully to you. I can't wait. Some of the people that were on site here saw the new items that are coming out. It's going to be sick. The highest quality material that we're getting to share with you, with 2 new shoes being launched, which is going to be crazy. So stay tuned for those of you guys. And I'm going to wrap up the entire podcast with the Future Looks Bright shoes. If you haven't yet got it for yourself, this is all I wear. And so with that being said, gang, we enjoyed it. We will do it again Friday on the podcast. With that being said, here's the FLB shoes. If you have the clip counter in the back, let's finish the podcast with the FLB clip. If you do have it, just play the clip. We will wrap it up with that. Connor, again, I'm waiting for you to see if you have the clip to pull up. If he doesn't have it, just go to vtmerch.com to place your order. How much time do you guys need?
It's coming. It's coming.
Because he's done good so far today. I mean, I want to finish good. There you go. All right. Started from the beginning. Go for it.
Iranian drones at the control room.
Tom, stop. Go back from the beginning.
And luxury.
Thanks, guys.
When we set out to create a shoe that blends comfort, function, and luxury, we had the choice to make it fast. We had the choice to make it cheap. We chose neither. Instead, we chose Tuscany, Italy. We chose true Italian craftsmanship, each pair touched by 50 skilled hands. We chose patience, spending 2 years perfecting every detail, and we chose the finest quality at every step. Introducing the Future Looks Bright collection. Not rushed, not disposable, not ordinary. Rather, intentional, luxurious, timeless.